Snazzy at 4 on Sky Sports Extra.
This is Sky Sports Live.
The past 7 races of the IndyCar Series have seen an incredible 7 different winners. Points leader Dan Wheldon hasn't scored a win since his historic Indy 500 victory in May. But the Buckinghamshire driver has continued to build up the points and has only missed the top spot of the podium by inches on more than one occasion. With just 5 rounds of the 17-race series to go, Wheldon heads his rivals by 78 points. So, will it be victory today for Dan, or a hiccup that brings his rivals closer? We're live here on the bumpy Kentucky Oval for the Amber Alert Portal Indy 300. Hello everyone, we're in bluegrass country this week as the IndyCar Series heads towards its final and decisive races. Kentucky might be better known for its horse race, the Kentucky Derby, than it is for car racing, but there's certainly a buzz in the air today. Rain, however, interrupted qualifying, so grid positions have been based on practice times, and yet again, Danica Patrick has written the main news story. So let's check out the headlines. She's done it again. Danica Patrick has put the Rahal Letterman Paynos Honda on pole position. But championship leader Dan Wheldon will start alongside her on the front row of the grid, while teammate Dario Franchitti starts 9th. Thomas Scheckter qualifies 3rd, but along with teammate Thomas Enger, goes to the back of the pack because of a late engine change. And AJ Foyt's team joins Scheckter's Panther squad by switching from Toyota to Chevrolet engines. Well, to discuss this and plenty more, I'm joined by our resident IndyCar pundit, Paul Cherry, and alongside him is a man who holds several outright lap records at British tracks, Scott Mansell. Very warm welcome to both of you, and particularly Scott, a newcomer to the Sky Sports studio, and so much to talk about, and we will, believe me. Now then, Paul, first, fill us in on the Kentucky track. It's bumpy, I'm told, but it was built for IRL originally. Yeah, it was a major decision to build it for the IRL series when it was a pretty fledgling series. They have a 66,000 person capacity, and most years they've been full. It's been one of the real success stories, but then not much else racing goes to Kentucky, so this is a big thing for them. Bumpy though, and it was only, what, 5 years old? That's an unusual phenomenon. Did they build the bumps in? Yes, I think it's sort of withering with age, shall we say, but you know, it makes it a challenge. 14-degree corners, so there's a severe banking. It's quite safe. We'll see some spectacular crashes, of course, but it's quite safe as regards drivers. Scott, a rose between two thorns, just 19 years old, heading out to America very soon to take on the Infinity Pro Series, the feeder series obviously into Indy cars. Must be a very exciting time for you.
It is. I mean, to go and race in America at the moment is just fantastic. Seems like the place to go, and the IndyCar Series just... I watched my first race last time I went over, and it was just amazing. The crowds they have, the spectacle's just brilliant. Do you feel that, you know, the likes of Dan Wheldon, Dario Franchitti and the like are drawing more British drivers to look a little bit further west? Yeah, you know, they're having a successful career over there, so you know it does show that we can make a good living over there. Looking forward to seeing how well you go as far as that's concerned. Now, Dan Wheldon hasn't won since May. He's still 78 points in the lead at the moment, Paul. Is it a percentage game, or is he still going to be going for wins? He's still got to go for wins. There's 5 races to go, but with the IRL point system, there's a lot of points per event. He's a winner, and he's going to want to be first. He's not going to tool around and pick up 10th place and win the championship that way. Also, the other guys, you know, Tony Kanaan might be that 70 points behind, but he's a proven winner. He just needs 5 big ones,
and it'll all turn round.
The old Andretti Green team, they are a phenomenon, aren't they? With Brian Herter last time out as well, finally getting a win, a much deserved win, of course, for the team. Is there anybody going to stop them?
It's a struggle. I mean, Honda, the engine that Brian Herter used at the last race at Michigan was a development engine. Now all the Honda runners have this engine for this event. Toyota must be thoroughly demoralised, although Scott Dixon has been running well in these practice sessions.
Well, they're one man down, of course, with Darren Manning out as far as Ganassi is concerned, but all eyes again are on Danica Patrick for all the right reasons, of course. She's in pole position. I mean, what are your thoughts, Scott? You must have been paying attention to what's been going on over there. I mean, she's tiny, she's fast, she's good looking, she's getting all the press at the moment in America. Must be driving Dan Weldon mad.
Well, she's doing obviously really well as a racing driver. She's quick, she's shown that she's quick, she's on pole again. She's been finishing pretty well, so she's doing a really good job over there.
There have been obviously other lady drivers that have done relatively well, I suppose. But Danica, for my money, and I'm sticking my neck out here, I won't expect you to do the same. I mean, she really does seem like a proper racer. She's been in the thick of the mix all year long. She's had a couple of big offs. She's had, she's really had to race to get to the position she's got to. I mean, she seems like the real deal to me.
Yeah, you know, she's relatively inexperienced to go straight into the IndyCar series. So taking that, she's doing really well. She's dicing with all the people that have been in it for years really well. So she's a good driver.
Crushed egos come to mind. Now then, there's no doubt that Thomas Scheckter is one of the unluckiest drivers in the IndyCar series, and that ill fortune followed him yesterday. He should be starting from third on the grid, but a Chevrolet engine change puts him at the back. Last week the South African returned to Britain, where he started his racing career and drove South Africa's A1 GP contender. During a break in testing, Andrew Marriott caught up with him.
Well, Thomas, what a season you've had in IRL this year. You've had your one win, you've come so close so many times. Lots of pole positions, front row of the grid. What's happening, man?
I don't know. I think we're just getting it together. You know, I think that win at Texas definitely helped. Just a lot of positive for the team and for everybody. And I think that's got the ball rolling. And you know, every race we contended for a win, which is good.
Last weekend you were very close indeed. You had that penalty, sadly. What was that about?
Well, it was just a miscommunication, I think, between the engineers and the Chevy guys with exactly where the pit limiter came in place, and it came in a little bit too late and we speeded, but we still managed to come back and finish third, so we've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, that was a great drive.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at it now, I think the best we could have done is a second. I don't think we could have had anything for Herter. He was very, very quick on his own, so you know, to finish third from almost getting lapped was a pretty good result.
Does it hurt you a bit racing against Andretti Green? They've got 4 cars, 4 quick guys. You've got only 2 cars in your team, and at the moment you haven't got your regular second driver who's not experienced anyway.
It does, because you know, when you get up into the front like that, the racing is so close that there's a lot of team tactics where they help each other, and it is a little tough to get by, and that's one of the things that if we want to compete against Andretti Green, we need to get another teammate to help me up front.
You're with Chevrolet engines because there's only a couple of those out in the field, but it seems to be really strong this year.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job, really working hard, especially that they announced it's going to be their last year. I think you know, putting a lot of effort in, and it's certainly paying off.
Now, you've just been testing at Kentucky, your next race. Just talk to us about that racetrack a little bit.
It's going to be a great race, a lot of side-by-side racing. It's quite similar to a lot of the speedways. And I think it's one of the standard races, so there's nothing too special, too different about it.
Is it flat out all the way, or do you have to lift?
It is. In traffic you have to sometimes, depends how much traffic is in front of you, but in qualifying trim it should be flat out, and in race trim most of the time, but it just depends how many cars in front of you.
And then after that you're off to Pikes Peak. That's a slightly different track.
Yeah, it's slightly different because of altitude, and altitude really takes a lot of the downforce away, and it's a different sort of track. And not only that, the engines, they really have to tune the engines a little bit differently, but we think that's under control at the moment.
And then after that, back to your roots, road racing, at a wonderful track in California, the Infineon Raceway.
Yeah, it's tough for us. We don't do much testing. Panther Racing mainly concentrates on all our development on ovals, which is most of our racing, and that's one thing we don't have enough time on the track, and I haven't even tested there, so I'm going to go straight there for the race. So in some ways I'm looking forward to it, in some ways I'm not really.
Meanwhile, in the championship overall, Danny's got a big lead now. Can Dan be beaten, do you think, for the title?
Yeah, I mean, it's racing. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. I don't wish bad luck on anybody. That's the nature of the sport that we're doing. So, you know, we'll just keep pushing hard and see what happens. But certainly, I still think there's a chance for some other people to run up there.
And some more wins for Thomas Scheckter this year.
Yeah, that's what I want. You know, that's what I'm concentrating on, is just winning races. And we've had a shot every weekend we've gone out.
You comfortable on the ovals? You like racing the ovals? Because you come from a road racing background, of course.
Yeah. Certainly this year I've really sort of got into my form where I'm a lot more relaxed in the car, especially when the car goes bad and we have to make it better in a race. But it's definitely becoming a lot more comfortable on them.
Thomas Scheckter currently on 275 points and 8th in the series, and I suspect we'll see Scheckter coming through the field quickly today. Do you think that as well, Paul?
Yeah, judging by the last practice session that they had this morning, he was fastest by some considerable distance. So I think we shall watch out for the yellow car.
A lot to prove still.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's unfinished business for Thomas. He should have won many more races than he has, and he tries to every weekend.
Well, with us is Scott Mansell as well, a newcomer to the Sky Sports studio here. Scott, you've been winning for the last couple of years in the Euroboss series in the Zigzag Benetton car, and I think we can actually warm everybody up at home that don't know too much about Scott Mansell. Well, this is him winning in lap record pace at Brands Hatch last year, and the IndyCar circuit. New lap record, took it over from the Champ cars, Scott. You must be quite proud of that.
Yeah, the lap record at Brands was a very special one because the Champ cars had been there the year before and set the pace for me to try and beat. We only just beat it, but it was a good record for us to take.
38-second laps. Sounds a bit like the ovals, really, and they're getting around there that quick. Now, you've been sitting a bit on the sidelines at the moment, so you must know how the man that we've been talking quite a lot about over the last couple of weeks, how Darren Manning must feel. He's at Denver, I think, at the street circuit at the moment, still trying to pick up a drive. How difficult is it to put everything in place to get these drives actually organised?
You know, there's various different things that you need to organise. You need to organise finance, the sponsors, get it all sorted, be in line with the team and everything. They need to want you, obviously, and you need to fit together, so it does take a long time for everything to gel together.
It's a little bit chicken and egg as well, though, isn't it, Paul? I mean, you can have the talent, but you don't take the money with you, so you don't get the drive. And you can find yourself in the same position. Darren Manning was the quickest man in Ganassi's team, and yet he's the guy with the weakest contract and finds himself out of work mid-season.
Yeah, I think the thing with Darren, as we touched on last week with his manager, was definitely a politics situation. But as Scott says, you have to get the right deal together, you've got to have all the right ingredients, and sometimes people make the wrong decisions, the team isn't quite right, or the package isn't quite right, and that can have a retrograde step. So I think Scott's been quite smart here because the team he's going with are a proven ability.
Well, of course, the other way you can do it is, well, Danica Patrick, of course. Bobby Rahal spotted something very special in her and gave her the opportunity, and hasn't she done the business for us? We can hear from her now at trackside.
Danica Patrick is always on the move, breaking female records, and now it's second pole for you, Danica. But when are you going to close the deal? When are we going to get the record that I know you've been searching for, and that's a trip to victory lane?
Well, it's you know, it's something that I definitely try for every time I'm out there. I promise you, I want to win more than anybody wants me to win. So we do everything we can. But bottom line is the reasons why the guys with experience win is because they've got experience, and I'm just lacking. So we need to, we need to get that together, and as well as the fact that we need to make sure that car is fast. And I think this weekend is better than it has been in the last one. So I'm happy about that.
Good luck, Danica.
Thank you.
Paul, very quickly, any chance of her putting it together today in Kentucky?
Don't say it like that, Keith. No, I mean, she has been at the front in qualifying and in practice. The biggest problem for her is during the races, with all the traffic around her, it takes her a while to get herself back to where she started. She will do it, but as I've said before, she is going to take a year to learn how to do this properly, but she's doing a fantastic job. I
promised you before we came on air I wouldn't throw you a curveball, Scott, so I'm not going to ask you a question like that. Now, one man who must be slightly frustrated by the publicity situation surrounding Danica Patrick, because he leads the series by 78 points, is Britain's Dan Weldon. He's been absolutely superb this year, and we can hear from him now.
Open wheel history with the win all in one day. How do you stop her?
Well, Danica's obviously a very talented individual, and she's been quick here all weekend, so I expect her to be strong. But you know, certainly I'm going to be trying to get into the lead as quick as I can, and you know, we'll see what goes on from there. But I want to give a shout out to Darren Manning, who we're missing not having in the Indy Racing League right now. But you know, this series is very, very competitive right now, and I'm not sure that I want to predict what's going to happen. But you know, hopefully the AGR boys will be up there.
You talk about wanting to lead early. She's determined, very determined. As much as we've seen her, you're aggressive. Who leads lap one?
Whoever crosses the start-finish line first. That's a difficult one. I mean, you know how I am, and I think everybody else out there does. I like to try and lead if I can, but we'll just play it by ear. There's obviously a championship to take care of, but I think winning races is obviously a good thing for me. That I'd like to try and beat Hornish's record of 5 wins in a season, so we'll see.
Okay, good luck today, but the best man or woman win. Let's check in upstairs with Todd Harris. Todd?
I'm not Todd, I'm Keith. Danica and Dan are on the front row of the grid. The cars are firing up on the grid down in Kentucky, but before we join our ABC colleagues, we're going to take a short break. We're live in Kentucky for round 12 of the IndyCar Series. Danica Patrick and Dan Weldon fill the front row of the grid. So let's now cross over to Kentucky with our US commentators Gary Lee and former Indy racer Larry Rice.
And now we'll join the public address system for the command to start the engines.
The Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Ernie Fletcher. Ladies and gentlemen, unbridle your spirit. Start your engines.
I like that little play on the horses there. Unbridled here. You know,
we've
sounds
been
like
playing on the horse racing down here all during the program. Yeah, this is big horse race country, of course, with the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May every year, probably the most famous horse race in this country. As we'll take a look now at the starting grid once again, determined by practice speeds. The average of the 2 practice sessions put Danica Patrick on the pole, her second pole of the year. Second time this season, Dan Weldon, the points leader, will start in the front row. In the second row on the inside, Sam Hornish, who led for the first time here back in 2000. Second now in the point standings. He won here in 2002, and Scott Dixon outside the second row. In the third row on the inside is Tony Kanaan. Tony Kanaan presently is third in the points championship, the overall points champion a year ago, and Vito Mira will start in the 6th position outside the third row. In the fourth row on the inside of Scott Sharp, his 110th start in the Indy Racing League. And Buddy Lazier, a 2-time winner in 2000 and 2001, starts outside the fourth row. In the fifth row on the inside is Dario Franchitti. Franchitti now 4th in the point standings for Andretti Green. And outside, Buddy Rice, former winner of the Indianapolis 500. In the 6th row on the inside, Brian Hurd, the winner 2 weeks ago at Michigan, the most recent race, and A.J. Foyt. They switched to a Chevy power plant this weekend, his best qualifying effort this season. Brian Briscoe, a rookie, and Matt Sewer will start in the 7th row. In the 8th row on the inside, Elio Castroneves did not practice well at all, lost the second practice session, and Roger Yasukawa will occupy the 8th row. In the 9th row on the inside is Jacques Lazier. Jacques Lazier on the inside. In car number 10 for Target Chip Ganassi, and Alex Barron outside in the Achiever Red Bull entry number 51. In the 10th row on the inside, Patrick Carpentier in car number 83, and outside young Jimmy Kite in car number 91. In the 11th row on the inside is Ed Carpenter. Carpenter out of Indianapolis in the Vision Racing entry, and Thomas Schechter, after changing the engine in the Panther Pennzoil car, will start in row 11, rounding out the field row 12, also with an engine change, Tomas Indy. Predictions, Mr. Rice?
Well, I think you're going to see Thomas Schechter move through the pack pretty quickly. I predict that Danica, because of her lack of experience, is probably not going to have, she's not going to lead the first lap. Distance, 300 miles, 200 laps, 483 kilometers. Pit window, 45 to 49. They might be able to stretch that clear out to 52 or 53 laps before they pit. So we'll see. It depends on what kind of gas mileage, how much they turn
where
down.
the yellows play as well.
Okay, keys to the race: balance, bumps, and the weather. The bumps are in the corners. At Nashville, that's the roughest track on the circuit, but most of those bumps are on the straightaways. These are right in the middle of the corners. You have to really get a lot of downforce, which takes away straightaway speed.
Weather has been a concern here this afternoon. 30% chance now of rain, which is a lot more promising than we had at this time yesterday.
Yeah, it rained yesterday. They've been worried about it all day. Obviously, that front has slowed up a little bit. They don't expect it to get here, hopefully, before this race is over.
Well, we should get the green the next time by. You take a look, onboard shot from Scott Dixon, starting back in 4th position. After they fired Darren Manning, he's had a couple of very good qualifying efforts.
Maybe got his attention. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, he's had a very good run the last 2 or 3 times out. Maybe the Toyota engine is getting a little better, although you can see from the onboards here, Jacques Lazier, he's back in 17th.
There's a look from the back of the pack. This might be kind of fun to ride along with Thomas Scheckter on the opening laps of this race, because he'll be starting from the back, as Danica, for the 2nd time this season, will bring them off the corner with the pole position, pick up the RPMs.
Well, remember, she had a great start over in Japan, ran really well. Looks like she got another good start here. I might be wrong. She might do really well here early in this race. Look at Kanaan.
Wide. Look at Kanaan on the high side, using that 14-degree banking. And Kanaan wants to lead this first lap.
He got a huge run on everybody out there.
Starting in 5th position, he's going to lead the first lap.
Man, oh man, I'm not sure what happened. He must have got a huge, huge run on everybody.
We saw this before. We saw this in Michigan.
Yep. He's had great restarts the last couple of races. He's figured out something. It might be in the way he gears that car in those lower gears that gives him that little bit of an advantage, or it might just be that he's on the ball and getting a good restart.
Well, you see the first 2 up in front of Patrick. She rides back in 3rd position. It's Kanaan, Weldon, Patrick Hornish is 4th, then Sharp and Mira, then Buddy Lazier, then Franchitti. But what a start for that number 11 car.
Well, you can see Danica Patrick doing much better here than she has done the last couple of races. In Texas, she fell back to 10th or 11th right away. In this race, she's running in 3rd and running pretty strong right now, keeping up with the 2 Andretti Green cars right in front of her.
Here comes Sam Hornish to challenge for 3rd position.
Well, you know he's not going to stay back there very long. He's very eager to get up there and mix it up with these guys. Dan Weldon down to the bottom of Tony Kanaan, trying to take that over. Kanaan running a little bit higher on the racetrack than Weldon and Danica Patrick.
Weldon, most leaders we had here was back in 2000 with 9. The fewest we had 5 back in 2001, 2003, and 2004.
And you can see that already Scheckter has picked up 7th position, so he's moving up very quickly. Scott Dixon, on the other hand, is way back. He's lost 11 spots already. He's back in 15th position.
Our 2nd leader of the afternoon has a good battle for 3rd position, as Hornish wants that spot from Danica.
Yeah, he tries the outside. He goes right through the middle of the corner very well. That time he got up beside her and went on around her. But he's been trying that outside line and couldn't quite make it work the first couple of times. That time, though, he went on by.
Well, Weldon looked like he was going to shatter all the records when the season began. He won 4 of the first 5 races. Now the record for one season in wins is 5, held by Hornish. So you heard the early part of the program. He'd like to reestablish that record this season.
And watch her steering wheel.
Bump.
Yeah, see the steering wheel, how it jerks in her hand? Those are bumps she's going over, and it really, it's very, very difficult. If you don't have a car that'll run through the bumps here, look at her hands. Look at those things when she's hitting those bumps.
There's car owner and former IndyCar champion, former Indy 500 winner Bobby Rahal looking on.
Yep, she reached down and got another gear right there as Vitor Mira goes by her on the outside.
Well, Vitor is her teammate. Vitor moves to 4th.
You can see Bobby saying she's shifting gears. What's that all about?
And here comes Franchitti. Franchitti takes a look at the high side for 5th position. But still, it's all about getting experience, Larry.
Well, it certainly is. And there's Thomas Scheckter. He's moved up to 13th. He's kind of hit a little roadblock here after he got 7 or 8 spots there in the first couple of laps.
That's Briscoe right in front of him. Ooh. He's shifting gears also.
He got way wide right there, pushed the front end out, and lost another spot.
And Castro Nevitz goes by him. So Elio had his problems during practice. And look at this. He lost another position. No, he's going around Herta now.
That's Herta. He's going to get around. But he lost a couple of spots there when he got so wide coming off of that number 4 corner the last time around.
Well, Weldon took the lead on lap 4 from Kanaan. Kanaan led the opening 3 laps. And look at this.
Now that's Castroneves.
Castroneves.
He's moving up. He's like Briscoe that he's going around. So Castroneves, after not faring very well in the qualifying, also trying to move through the pack.
You didn't think that he would stay at the back of the pack that long, nor would Scheckter.
No, and Scheckter, he hasn't been. He's running into a little bit of a problem. He hasn't been passing guys near as quickly. He lost a couple spots there a couple of laps ago.
And here comes Hornish, the top 3 on your screen right now. Weldon. You see the speeds they ran the last lap. Weldon leaves Tony Kanaan and Hornish. Mira is closing in 4th position. Franchitti is 5th. 6th is Patrick.
Yeah, and they're running at 213 miles an hour, 214 miles an hour. That's about 3 or 4 miles an hour faster, or I mean slower than they practiced and qualified when they're out there by themselves. So obviously it's pretty windy here today, and that wind is blowing from the front straightaway straight across. So coming off of turn 2, it should make that car want to push up towards the wall.
You see Weldon 7 wins out of 44 starts. Pretty good batting average.
Yeah, Vito Mira's hanging in there quite well. He's right with those guys. You can see him just in that yellow car at the bottom of your screen. He's within about 3 or 4 car lengths of this lead pack.
Had you asked either one of us before the season began who would we pick as a first-time winner this season, Vito Mira would be at the top of the list.
Absolutely. I thought he should have won a couple of races last year, and still this year he's had some pretty bad luck. And there is A.J. Foyt.
Mr. Foyt right now in 11th position. He started 12th. Now they have gone to a different engine for this weekend.
Yeah, they've gone to the Chevrolet engine. First time they've run it. He qualified. That's the best starting position he's had all year. And quite honestly, this is the fastest he's run all year. I mean, he's running in 11th, not in the top 10 yet, but pretty quick. And I think if you ask Grandpa AJ, he would tell you it's, and there he is.
Well, then look at his eyes. AJ last weekend was bulldozing on his farm in Texas. Got into a swarm of bees, was stung over 200 times, had to jump off the dozer and into a lake to get away from the bees.
Yes, he's lucky to be here, quite honestly. That could be pretty bad.
Well, Weldon continues to lead this thing over Kanaan, Hornish, Franchitti, and Mira. So Weldon took the lead on lap 4, has led since then, and there you see the top 2, Weldon and the Andretti Green teammate Tony Kanaan, and there is Hornish back there in 3rd position.
Yeah, right now it looks like they're pretty content just to kind of run around there. Kanaan looking to the high side. He's been running an outside groove through the corners. Even when the race started, that's where he ran. Seems to be as fast out there, but doesn't seem to be fast enough to go around Weldon.
Well, Franchitti has moved up to 4th. Now Mira has lost a couple of positions. He has dropped from 4th to 6th. In fact, Patrick has gotten around for 5th position.
And there comes Franchitti. He's going to the outside. And there goes Thomas Scheckter. He continues his move up, back up. Now he's in 12th. That's his best position so far today. He was up to 13th before he lost those 2 spots just a few laps ago.
Well, back up to the front, it's still Weldon. Weldon enjoying that large points lead of 78. He cannot lose the points lead here this afternoon, but he has to drive smart. He can't take any unnecessary chances and take a chance of wrecking that race car early on and losing points.
Well, that's right. And he, quite honestly, he's run pretty hard the last few races. Not like the points championship was really bothering him too much.
Well, also on the other side of that, drivers will tell you if I get out of my rhythm, if I try to protect the lead and not aggressive, I lose my rhythm.
Well, that's true, and I don't think he's lost his rhythm because he's been pretty aggressive.
Well, of course, the 2 teammates are together right now. Franchitti is running in 3rd, so the top 3 are Andretti Green teammates. Live coverage from Kentucky Speedway in northern Kentucky. After taking a weekend off last week, we have 3 straight races, which will take us to Pikes Peak International Raceway next week and on to Infineon out in Sonoma, California in 2 weeks for our 2nd road race of the season. And you see the top 3 right there are Andretti Green. The 4th Andretti Green teammate is Herta, and he's mired back there in 16th position.
Yeah, and remember we said that Brian Herta was kind of the R&D. He tried new things for this team. Obviously, the new thing, whatever it happened to be at Michigan, worked out really well. And if they tried something here today, it's not working worth a darn.
You see the top 4 on your screen, and here is Danica.
She's hanging right in there with them. She's several car lengths right behind Mira.
Mira has gotten back around her. You see how rough this track is as she really works that steering wheel.
And you can see also that these cars stay pretty close to each other. They don't get strung out a lot, but they don't run side by side nearly as much as they do at a place like Texas. See all those dark spots? Those are places where you know, people are bottoming out and they ground the track and whatever. And it's much worse in the corners.
Look at this. A big run on Mira going into the corner.
Makes the pass. See, that was just a case of her waiting back there and wait till she got the...
But that's what she needs to learn on these racetracks.
Exactly. That's exactly what she has to do. Mira's not giving it to her, though, as he comes right back on the outside.
She has the shorter way around this racetrack, and they're still side by side. The top 4 pretty well single file and then double wide for that position as we go back to the restart, or the replay of the start. And look at Kanaan make that move to the high side.
Wow. He just
right in front of Mira.
He went from the bottom clear to the top. Look at this. He just got a run on everybody.
Now, what happened to that old saying in the driver's meeting, you can't win the race in the opening lap?
Well, no race car driver will ever believe that one. I don't care who they are or what they are.
They've all heard it every driver's meeting.
That's right. You can't win it, but you can sure gain a lot of spots, and that's what they all try to do.
Well, look at Franchitti all over the rear of the number 11 car. He looks like he'd like to challenge for second position. Here comes Hornish.
Yep, he says, where are you going to go, Tony? Because I'm going to go the other spot. If you're going to go high, I'm going to run to the bottom.
And Patrick has gotten around Mira now, so Danica back in 5th. There you look at Kanaan with the 1 win this season. And here comes Sam Hornish on the inside of Franchitti for 3rd position.
Franchitti's been kind of hunting. He's been going high and low and trying to figure out where Kanaan was going to go. And while he was doing all that, Hornish just snuck up on him and
here comes Franchitti again on the low side.
Hornish got way loose up there going through those bumps that time. Back in on that thing got way loose up there on the high side. This place is very difficult. They try to not put downforce in these cars because when you put downforce in them, it slows down the straightaway speed. Uh-oh.
First yellow with a plume of smoke, and I believe that is Dixon.
Yeah, that's a tough break. He certainly had his share. That's probably the reason he went from 4th to 11th or 12th.
He was slowly losing the engine.
Yeah, because the engine was just slowly giving up on him. And the Toyota people have certainly had their problems over the last over this year. They really have haven't really run very good, and they've had some problems like this too.
Right along with Tomas Indy, and there it goes.
We're down the back straightaway.
Kept him on the high side so Indy could go by and get out of any spray or any moisture related on the racetrack.
Well, the spotter obviously
in there someplace.
Yeah, the spotter obviously said, "Stay high, stay high, stay high," knowing that there was somebody right behind him. And then you could see as soon as the spotter told him it was okay, he cut to the bottom of the racetrack, got down off the racetrack, down into the apron, and then pulled into the first available spot. So to get out of the way.
There's Hornish's
wiggle.
There.
You can see. There you can see that thing really wiggled as he got way out of shape back there. He caught it, but you know, that's one of the talents that he has that a lot of people don't. He can catch something when he gets
He has just superb car control.
Oh yeah,
and that's just a feel. That's a feel that you either have or you don't have.
That's right. It's just something you
I suppose you can hone that feel, but you really it's either there or it's not there.
We're in our first caution period, of course, of today from the Indy 300 in Kentucky. And it's all happening down there at the moment. I can tell you while you're away, we had our first pit stops of the caution period. Here we go. Everybody diving in. Paul Cherry. Well, you might have expected everybody as soon as they got an opportunity in the open pit lane to dive in here. But it's going to be interesting to see whether the rush and the crush is successful for all concerned. Kanaan and Weldon at the end of the garage.
Yeah, it's all fairly manic here as everybody's decided to come in on this first.
Oh, look at Canaan. Canaan
made a brilliant stop.
I'll tell you what, Weldon didn't. He's come out fourth.
Danica's back in fifth, so that wasn't too bad for her. Schechter's picked up 2 spaces there. Looks like he's in
on the charge, actually, isn't he? Well and truly. Oh, we've got a wheel off, and that
looks like Dario.
Dario's wheel. So Dario Franchitti, the luckless Scot. Oh, I tell you what, that could bounce right across into the exit of pit lane.
It's a rare mistake from Andretti Green.
3 wheels on my wagon. They are going to be so unhappy. Tell you what, that's mucked up the aerodynamics, Scott.
It doesn't tend to work with 3 wheels, does it?
So there it is, and Dario Franchitti's got to do a whole lap before he can come in, grinding the under-rear right-hand side of that car. They won't be retrieving that for a moment. They'll leave that to the marshals. He's back off the banking and round the inside of the track. Disaster for Franchitti. Let's take another look at it, and as he's exiting pit lane, there it goes. Well, we haven't seen that for a while, it has to be said, Paul Cherry, but I wish we hadn't seen it again, to be frank with you.
No, if my memory serves me right.
He's going to be wrecking the rear end of that car over them bumps.
No, he's in pit lane now, so...
Well, you did say they set them up strangely for a 14-degree banking when we were off air. Not quite that strangely, I don't believe.
Not the way to go. Certainly put Dario back. He's going to be at the back of the pack. Fortunately, he's probably not even going to lose a lap because it's on the yellow. But all his good work from the start of the race has unfortunately come to nothing. But that's moved Thomas Schechter up yet another position.
It has delayed, of course, the restart of this race. We won't be coming under green for a moment. They will be retrieving that wheel from the end of pit lane. When the lights go out on the truck, they are then 1 lap away from a bit of a restart. We're under our first caution period. It started at 28 laps. They've all taken an opportunity to dive into pit lane to grab some fuel. So let's get back to the track then and find out if the commentators have got anything to refresh us on.
I would expect him to be back up in the top. He'll get around 8 or 10 cars the first 2 or 3 laps.
Well, let's see how close we can get to the pace car here.
Yeah, you don't want to get too close. You bend the wing when he turns in or stamps on the brakes.
So Canaan, Mira, Weldon, Hornish, and Rice, the top 5 for this restart from the first yellow of the afternoon. Live coverage after 33 of 200 laps. Tony Kanaan under yellow will lead Vito Mira on this restart. Danica back there in 6th position. Thomas Schechter up to 9th after that pit stop. Casper Nevitz up to 8th.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Tony Kanaan gets as good a restart from the front position as he gets from the back, because I think when he's back 2 or 3 spots, he just kind of outguesses everybody. He gets on the throttle just 1 second before everybody else does, and it gives him enough more RPM that he can pull off something like he pulled off on the first lap. But when you're in the front, you're not allowed to pick up speed.
How close he is on that pace vehicle.
Well,
so get out of the way, JP.
Yeah,
let me go.
I guess he wants to run as fast as he can under the yellow. Maybe he's trying to get him to go
right
faster.
Along with Herta. Herta right now in the 11th position.
Huge crowd here. They had the best pre-sales, ticket sales they've ever had here this weekend. So I think it seats 66,000 people. They had
50,000 sold in advance.
Yes, exactly. So track temperature here today is not nearly as hot as it was yesterday. It was 43 degrees yesterday, and that was very, very hot. It has cooled down a little bit today because this front's coming in and the rain and so forth.
This turns out to be a lengthy yellow, Larry.
Yeah, it certainly does. I'm not.
An engine.
They, I don't know what they're doing. They probably put some oil dry down. Well, they did put some oil dry down where he was, or at least check the racetrack. Then the other truck went out there to make sure there was no debris where Franchitti had his problem. But Franchitti, the first couple laps, he's going to feel that thing out. He's going to be a little nervous, quite honestly, because you just don't know, what might have happened. They're telling him that it didn't appear to be any damage on the radio. They're telling him it looks okay. Everything's fine, but still, in the back of your mind, the first couple laps, you're kind of waiting to feel if anything is going to go wrong with that race car, because the speed you're traveling, if something breaks the rear end, you're going to hit something plenty hard.
Well, the pace vehicle pulls off. We'll go green in one lap. You see him right now trying to clean off the tires. Vito Mir on a good pit stop. Came in 5th position, came out in 2nd. Weldon drops to 3rd. Hornish now is 4th. 5th is Rice. Patrick is 6th. Then Sharp, Castroneves, Scheckter is 9th. 10th is Matsura.
Well, we'll see on this restart if anybody can take advantage of being back there and getting on the throttle a little quicker. They do have a restart cone out there. And it looks like Kanaan picked it up way before he got to that cone.
And look at Hornish, looks to the inside of Weldon and still stays down low.
Look at the guys way in the back. They're the guys that really get the chance to get a jump. And look at Mira. Mira took advantage of that thing, went to the outside. Boy, ooh, those guys both wiggled a little bit right there as Kanaan took a very high line, which made Mira have to go even higher. And here comes Weldon down to the bottom side. He's trying to keep Mira away and leaves the bottom open for Weldon.
So Weldon moves up a position. Mira drops to 3rd. And Kanaan maintains the top spot. Now here comes Hornish to the inside of Mira.
Well, and Hornish talked about team tactics. And these guys have admitted before that, like at Texas, they ran side by side. They knew nobody could go around them. So the 2 teammates did run side by side. They said, we'll settle it ourselves on the last lap. But that's how they kept Castroneves and Mira from being a part of that race down there. There was no place to go because those 2 guys are running side by side. And Castroneves he hasn't complained about it, but he has said that it makes it very difficult when they're playing team tactics up there.
Well, he's vocalized that it has happened.
Right, it has happened, and they admit that it has happened. They're not denying it, but you can see Scheckter on the move, trying to move up.
Schecter's up to 6th position already.
That's Buddy Rice, but he's trying to get around. Buddy Rice having one of the better days he's had so far this year. He's had some terrible, terrible luck. Hasn't been in the hunt in a lot of the races he's been in. The one he's been in, he's had engine trouble or car trouble or whatever.
Scheckter with Chevrolet power trying to get around the Honda powered number 15 of Rice. And as we talk about engines, there's a big question mark on what the engine package could be for next season.
Yeah, everybody's kind of up in the air right now. Panther Racing says if Chevrolet doesn't come back, they'll switch to Hondas. Honda's saying it might not come back at all. So I'm not sure what's going to happen for next year, but whatever it is.
And Penske has repurchased a share of Ilmor Engineering, so we could see an Ilmor blank engine.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. So it'd be an interesting winter here. Well, they should be making their minds up here pretty soon, quite honestly. Look at this. I think he got a good enough run on him to get by that time. And here comes Hornish back around Mira.
Now Kanaan still out in front over Weldon, Hornish, and Mira. Mira's been in the thick of several battles here this afternoon.
And look at Castroneves. He's snuck right up there with that lead group.
And look at Scheckter on the inside of Mira. From the back of the pack through that one pit stop, he gained some positions, but look at this.
Well,
he gets around Mira, and that puts him in 4th position.
We talk about guys who have car control. Well, he's another one of those guys that does have car control. And right now, the 2 guys probably are as good at it as anybody are running almost side by side.
Scheckter looking for his second season. Look out. Almost contact there, but he made the pass.
Hornish came up the racetrack. I don't think he realized that Scheckter was out there. Came up the racetrack, almost made contact. That would not have been good for either one of them.
But how realistically, Larry, could he not know? I mean, the spotter has to be saying, you know, right side, something.
Yeah, and maybe he just didn't expect him to be up that far. I'm not sure, but boy, it sure looked close from where we're sitting anyway.
Well, Scheckter now closes in on the Andretti green teammates of Kanaan and Weldon. So 2 Hondas out in front, and the Chevy in 3rd. 4th is the Toyota.
Well, we'll see if he can break up this dominance. These 2 guys have run up there. They've taken up both lanes of the racetrack. And when they're running like that, it's almost impossible to get around them because you can't get up far enough underneath Weldon in order to take the 2nd spot. Now then, Kanaan just moves to the top and Weldon goes on by.
Weldon leads for the 2nd time this afternoon on lap 47. Only had 2 leaders. Kanaan led the first 3 laps, and Weldon led for some 26 laps before that pit stop.
And it just appeared that Kanaan went to the high side and let Weldon go by, because Weldon had been running back there. He'd been running on the high side just about where Kanaan is running right now. Couldn't get by, couldn't get by, couldn't get by. All of a sudden, Kanaan went in on the high side, and Weldon went right by on the inside.
Well, let's see if Scheckter has something now for either one of them.
What I started to say, as long as those 2 guys run like that,
there's no room for Scheckter to get around.
No room, because if he goes to the inside, it takes all the air off his front wing, and he pushes the front end. So there's no room for him, no place for him to go right there.
At what point can Brian Barnhart say, hey, you guys are blocking?
Well, I don't think he can. I mean, there's no evidence that they are actually blocking. They look like they're racing each other. And, well, they are racing each other.
But they've already admitted to what they've done in the past.
But, you know, they're running first and second. How do you stop them from doing that?
Well, they are indeed running first and second, with Scheckter third, Hornish is fourth, and Mira is fifth.
Fighter squadron formation, you know, running side by side, wingtip to wingtip, sort of like. And as long as they run like that, it makes it very difficult for anybody else.
What they're thinking is, I'll lead for a while, I'll let you lead for a while, we'll drive in the real wide lanes here, and nobody's going to get by us.
Well, it certainly looks to be what they've done, at least for the first part of this race. But they are obviously the fastest cars on the racetrack, or they wouldn't be able to do that. Scheckter, he falls back, and then he gets a really quick lap, catches up with him. But once he gets up there, there's nothing he can do to get around it.
The fastest driver the last lap was actually Buddy Lazier back in 13th position. Look at it, they're running almost in pairs of 2s right there.
Yeah, they get to running side by side, or 1 car width off from the car in front of them, just so they can get air to their wings. And when they do that, there's not much space for anybody else to go anywhere.
And there's Danica. She's back in 10th position right now. Just 2 seconds behind the leaders. You can see the leaders going to turn 3. Now she's about to be passed by Brian Hurt on the high side. That's the battle for 10th.
Yeah, but you can see that the first 10 or 12, actually about the first 12 or 13 cars are all still very, very close on the same straightaway.
I want to hear from Scott Remke about Danica Patrick.
He's the team manager for Ray Hall, so.
Bryce, just a few laps ago, he lost 7 positions in just a matter of 3 laps. Scott Remke, co-team owner. Scott, what is happening with Buddy right now? He seems to be fluctuating in his lap times.
Yeah, but he came off that pit stop in real good shape and got crossed up there, but now he's catching back up. The car's pretty good, and we had a great pit stop, so I think we'll be in the front here.
Well, you hate to see last year's Indy 500 winner. He is DNF 6 races. We'll see if he can make it to the end. Dr. Punch?
Well, I couldn't read his lips.
No, I don't know what he was trying to tell us, but anyway, yeah. Buddy Rice, you remember he started up in restarted in 5th position, and he's fallen back to 12th place, so he's not having such a good day right now. Now Franchitti kind of hit a hard spot. Look
at Matsura up in 7th position.
Matsura, remember, he ran 4th here last year. He runs very, very well at this particular racetrack.
And they're right behind Castroneves. So Castroneves, Matsura, and Franchitti in 6th, 7th, and 8th. They're right together on the racetrack.
And again, you can see everybody just in line, but the first 12 cars all on the same straightaway. So there's nobody really pulled away. I think Buddy Lazier back in 13th place has a little gap to him, but everybody else running fairly close to each other in this lead pack.
Well, Franchitti stays on the low side. He's riding along with Danica, and there goes Franchitti by her. Or that's Matsura.
No, it's Matsura. Yeah, Danica's right behind this group. That's Matsura you're riding along with right there. But Danica is right behind them. Matsura had a good run on him, got up the side of him, just could not finish it off, couldn't finish the deal.
There's Herta, who is now in 11th position.
He's fallen back a couple of spots. That's Scott Sharp right in front of him, and then Danica Patrick immediately in front of Scott Sharp. So he's kind of flailed around back there between 9th and 12th pretty much all day long. And here comes Here comes Franchitti to the outside.
But keep in mind the top 11 cars are only separated by less than 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, those guys are all running pretty much the same speed. When you get a chance to go around somebody is when they hit a bump, lift just slightly, or get a little bit out of shape. As long as the guy can keep his foot to the floor, it's almost impossible to make a move on him here on this racetrack. As you can see that Castroneves, Hornish has been following Scheckter for a long time. He's doing the same thing that Kanaan and Weldon are doing up front. He goes to the outside, but just doesn't have enough speed to go around.
Same thing with Mira trying to get around Castroneves. That's the battle for 5th. There's Hornish in 4th position.
Basically what you do is you stick out there and you just wait for them to make a slight bobble, scrub off just a little bit of speed. When they do, you've got that little bit of a run on them and try to go on around. Until they make that little bobble, you're pretty much stuck there.
We're on lap 67 of a 200-lap event here in northern Kentucky. Right along there with the Scheckter looking back at Hornish.
And Hornish, he's trying to get out on that outside. He's trying to run that outside groove and make something happen out there. But you can see that he runs out there, just does not have enough speed far enough around out there. He just can't get around.
Only 2 different leaders this afternoon, Kanaan and Weldon. Weldon presently leads. Kanaan second, Scheckter is third.
Well, as we went for that break, it all happened in Kentucky, and we get half a chance now to take a look at it with my guests here, Scott Mansell and Paul Cherry. Ed Carpenter then found himself in all sorts of trouble here, and our observations were as the car absolutely took off, it looked to me like something broke at the rear end of the car. We were discussing it in the break, but that's given us another opportunity to take a look at that, and perhaps we'll see a few more of those. There were some different angles that we will be showing to you in just a moment, but Paul, first observation, looked to me like something broke on the back of that car.
Yes, unfortunately I have to say I somewhat slighted Ed by suggesting he was in the wrong place at the right time. But quite clearly, when we go back and we watch this, as they come in now for all their pit stops, as I thought they would, I would suspect the right rear wishbone had obviously broken and upset the car straight away on a bump as well.
Well, it looked pretty much like he was in takeoff mode. I mean, the thing at the front end of the car came up, and even around Kentucky there isn't a bump big enough for it to do that. So
total passenger. The bumps won't do it ordinarily, but the frequency of the bumps over a period of time will do. Okay, here's Danica pulling out of town.
Well, we did see some pictures that came in that gave us a really good angle on the accident itself. Whether we're going to get an opportunity to see them again as they take their pit stops at the moment. Tony Kanaan there, and Kanaan behind Dan Weldon when this incident took place. At the moment we haven't had a look to see who has got out of the pits quickest, or indeed whether everybody has come through pit lane for fueling. So it'll give us an idea. Weldon, Kanaan, Scheckter was your top 3 at the time. That is the Ed Carpenter car that is being taken off the track into the safety barrier. Look at the car at the back. Yeah.
Yeah, see how that wheel sat right down.
Yeah. And as you said, Paul Cherry, a total passenger in those circumstances. Scott, a bit of a nightmare. Perhaps we shouldn't be showing you this kind of thing, seeing that you're off to take part in some of these races soon. And the result, though, there's a good indication of the safer barrier, which is new here at Kentucky this time round. It's Kanaan, Weldon, Scheckter at the moment. I can tell you the revised order after the pit stops. Hornish and Mira are in 4th and 5th places. Franchitti is up to 6th place after losing a wheel a little bit earlier on. That's the order at the moment. Franchitti has been fantastic since he had to do a lap with 3 wheels on his car. So that's a great result from Franchitti. He's really gone out full of fire, and he's been turning 216s throughout his last few laps of the race. So Dario Franchitti really is a man on fire at the moment, up to 6th place, having been stone last. I was talking about the safety barrier, new here at Kentucky, certainly an innovation as far as oval racing is concerned. It's difficult to see how you can make any barrier safe at 200 mile an hour plus when you're reversing into it, but it seems to work.
No, without exception. In fact, Tony George won one of the Autosport Awards last year for the innovation of the safer barrier, and it's actually at all the circuits on the series with the exception of the road courses and Milwaukee. However, for next year it is mandatory.
So Kanaan gets the jump there on the exit of pit lane over Dan Weldon. Weldon slips from first back to second place, courtesy of a slicker pit stop as far as Kanaan was concerned. Well, we are under our second caution of the day. Ed Carpenter is the man in the wall. He is perfectly okay, though. He is already walking back down pit lane. And as you can see, that is your top 5. Kanaan now leads from Weldon, Scheckter, Sam Hornish Jr. and Vitor Meira. And in 6th place, if they went that far on their graphic, it would show you the Scot, Dario Franchitti, who has made his way through. Let's get back to the track and hear what our commentators have to say.
Well, we understand that Danica was on the rev limiter, revving that thing up, trying to get it back out of the pit. So
yeah, well, she was on, a
little too high there.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. You just got to learn how to, you get the engine up, you drop the clutch, you take off. But evidently she, whatever she did wasn't right because she killed the engine. So.
Whatever she did put her back in 20th position on this restart.
Yeah, and that's tough. Tell you what, you got to give a call to A.J. Foyt the fourth. He's running 10th place. He's running ahead of Brian Herta and Buddy Rice and some of the tall dogs there. So he's doing a good job.
Well, we're happy to see Grandpa here this weekend because after that run-in with the bees last week, he's lucky to.
Yeah, his eyes were actually
allergic to it.
Eyes were actually swollen shut for a couple of days, and happened just about a little over a week ago, actually. So luckily, he's gotten a lot better.
I had a conversation this week with Tony Stewart after Tony won the Brickyard 400 last week, and of course AJ was one of his idols, but unfortunately AJ couldn't watch the race on television because the eyes were swollen shut. So we'll go back to green here in one more lap. There you see the Pearl flag. 74 of 200 laps now complete with 1 lap to go. Tony Kanaan, on the strength of a fast pit stop, will have the point on that restart. Weldon second, Scheckter is third, Hornish is fourth, Meira is fifth. The guy to watch, I think, is Franchitti.
Yeah,
I wish that car was not damaged.
He's obviously it's not damaged, and he's been very, very quick all day long. I think those top 6 guys have certainly been the class of the field so far. Scott Sharp back in 7th has been hanging around up there, but he's not got up there and mixed it up for the lead like the other 6 guys have.
Well, they pick up the throttle early, but here comes Kanaan to the high side and Weldon the low side. And Weldon is going to take the lead. Look at that, 3 wide behind him. 3 wide behind him for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
I don't get why Kanaan went so wide and just let those guys go around. Scheckter did not get a good restart. He had a terrible restart. He might lose another spot. As it looks like everybody's gaining on him. And
Danica's got a problem.
She must have
she may have tagged something on that engine when she revved it up in the pit area.
Yeah, that might be
the end of the road for her.
That's a tough break for her because she did have a pretty good run going, but she's obviously got an engine problem right now. Kanaan now
says, I'd like to lead this thing again.
I'm not sure why he pulled so high and just let Weldon go by in the first place. I think maybe he went out there thinking Weldon was going to try to go on the outside and was going to try to block him a little bit. And when he did, Weldon just blew by him on the inside. Look at
mighty early for these 2 teammates to be battling like this side by side. Not even reached the halfway point.
Here comes Castroneves. He'd like to get up there, and he certainly would like to get in there and do some damage, not damage, but get in the lead, take the dominance away from these 2 guys. You can see he's not afraid to run.
But he's going to have to run super, super high to get around these 2 guys because they're going to run side by side when they're challenged for position.
Yeah, unless. Yeah, they're not going to give him an opportunity, and as long as they can run side by side like that, there's just no way. You're stuck. You've got to follow. Here comes Scheckter back on the outside of Meira. The rest of these guys back here are just kind of dicing for position, and behind there taking advantage and trying to move up, but there's no place for them to go.
Well, still side by side up in front.
Yep. Franchitti.
Gearbox. What's going on, bro?
Looks like we don't have any gears above 4, 5, and 6. So we're going to take a look at it and assess whether we're going to change the stack.
Was this related to the stall on pit road a moment ago?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. We're downloading the data. It could be why it stalled. Maybe we lost a gear on the way in, and then didn't notice it till the restart there.
All right, Ray Lito and the crew are going to try to get her back out, but she sits right now on pit road. They're going to try to change the gearbox. Guys?
We're old enough. We're old enough. Schechter's got a problem. I was going to say, when you were driving, that terminology wasn't there. Download the computer.
Yeah, download the computer. What they're talking about is changing the stack. That's the stack of gears as Schechter's heading into the pit area. Engine's still running, so whatever the problem is, it doesn't sound to be engine related. But tough break for him. That's going to end his day and his run.
Well, at least his chance for victory.
Yeah, what a tough break.
So Mira now is in third, Hornish fourth, Franchitti is fifth, Castroneves is now sixth. And it doesn't look like there's any great rush.
They're going to the engine compartment. It must have a miss in it or something.
Now they're saying maybe gearbox problem, Larry.
Wow. All he had, yeah, gearbox again for Thomas Schechter. So they're going to go back there and
gearbox problems back to back for Danica. And
well, this racetrack
is the roughness. Is that?
It's so rough. I think you're going to see. You could see some suspension failures. We've seen one on Eddie Carpenter's car, and you could see more before the day's over. It's so rough, and it has to affect all the mechanical parts, gearbox included.
Well, Weldon and Kanaan continue to swap the lead. The only two leaders of this afternoon. But look at Mira. Mira like a slice of this, but the way these guys are running, I don't know how they're going to get by them.
Well,
unless they get a huge run on the high side somehow. And
Hornish actually had a chance. He stuck his nose in under Kanaan, and when he did, he lost the front end, just like we had talked about, and he had to get out of the throttle, and that's when Mira got around him. He had a big run on him, but once you get up there and try to get close to him, there's just no place to go without taking the air off the front end.
Hornish tries the high side of Mira. That's the battle for third. Well, certainly Weldon and Kanaan have been the cream of the crop here this afternoon, but you kind of wonder if they weren't running side by side as they have been, would somebody have a shot to get by them?
Well, and here comes Franchitti. He looked like he might try to go three wide to get around.
Well, if he gets up there with him, ain't nobody going to get around him. He got all three teammates up there. They can just block the entire racetrack.
Well, and that's kind of what they've been working on doing. I mean, that's why one of the reasons they've been so dominant. And
oh, look at Sharp though. Sharp is up in sixth position.
And he's been running pretty good all day long, but now then he's looking racy. Looks like he wants to actually get up there and race with the front guys.
Unfortunately for Danica, you can't learn about racing when you're sitting in the cockpit in the pit area.
No, and they're replacing the stack of gears. She didn't have anything above fourth. All the racing gears. She didn't have anything above third. Excuse me. She didn't have fourth, fifth, or sixth. Of course, fifth and sixth are the normal racing gears, so you certainly can't race running in third gear.
When you take a look at the lead cars, the front of the pack is still Andretti Green with Weldon, Kanaan. Hornish is still third. There is Franchitti. Franchitti now is in sixth position. But he has come from the back of the pack and by far the raciest guy out there this afternoon, just by the fact he had to start on the back of the pack on that restart. 89 and 200 laps now complete. Dan Weldon, Tony Kanaan have been swapping lead back and forth throughout this entire race. One or the other has been up in front. Take a look at the second five, and there's Franchitti in sixth position. Restarted back at the back of the pack after he lost that right rear. There goes Franchitti around Sharp. He's up to fifth position.
Yeah, Sharp had gotten around him just a few laps ago. Looked like he was going to be real racy, try to get up there. But all the position changes are taking place from third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh on back because the two guys up front are pretty much using up enough racetrack that nobody can get up there and get around them.
And there is Mira in that blue and yellow car in third position, then Hornish, then Franchitti. Now Franchitti gets around these two guys in front of him and joins his teammates up there.
Well, it's still a long way to go. We're not even to the halfway mark yet, so there's nobody really, they're in the lead pack. There's 8 cars in this lead pack. They're all right together. You don't have to lead this thing. You don't have to take a chance as Danica Patrick heads back on the racetrack after putting in all a new stack of gears in that gearbox.
And she is now 15 laps behind. you can get perhaps in 5 laps get around Scheckter for a position. But right now it's a matter of getting laps in the racetrack. It's more experience.
It's important for her to get back out there and run this racetrack, learn what she needs to do and how she needs to do it. And that's the reason they're going to put her back on the racetrack rather than putting it in the garage.
Well, I'd be willing to bet if we get down the last 25 laps and they're running like this, an Andretti green car will win.
Well, yeah.
They're not going to let somebody by.
And here comes Franchitti right now. He and Hornish running side by side, and look like he's going to, well, maybe
nose around the inside.
Looks like he's going to nose around the inside and take that position away from Hornish.
Well, where's the 4th Andretti green driver? Herta, who won 2 weeks ago at Michigan, is back in 8th position. So they have 4 of the top 8 positions.
Yeah, he's.
They ran 1, 2, 3, 4 at St. Petersburg. That had never happened before in IndyCar racing.
Right, and they've been so dominant all year long, just like they are in this race today. Quite honestly, I mean they've really dominated every aspect of the IRL. Here
look
comes
at this,
Mira.
Mira on the inside.
Mira's going to try. The last time Hornish did that, he lost the front end, had to get out of the throttle. Looks like that might have happened again.
Look at this. Here comes.
See what happened?
Well, boys, this race could be over. We got 1, 2, 3 up in front. We want to hear from Scheckter. We want to hear from Thomas Scheckter on what put him out of this race.
Yeah, Mira stuck his nose in under Kanaan, lost the front end, had to get out of the throttle just slightly, and he gave Franchitti that opportunity to go to the outside. Let's go down to the pits.
Went on the one side of the engine, so I was just down the straight. It felt like a 4-stroking. I thought the engine was going to go, and I had to bring it in. But you know, one side of the engine goes, you can't run.
While you were there, you looked like you were a rocket ship. I heard you say you were biding your time after you got the 3rd.
That was half total, just hanging out. My right front started getting up on pressure, so you know, I backed down a little bit, conserved some fuel, and it was just so it was easy at that stage, you know, just waiting, biding my time, like I normally don't do, but I was doing, and just a nice Sunday drive until that happened.
All right, Thomas Scheckter calls it a day, guys.
Well, somebody else may be calling it a day.
Yeah, it looked like he's got some sort of a problem. It looked like maybe a flat tire. It looked like he was wiggling around there. So he has a problem somehow, but it appeared the way he was going through there.
Just watching the replay.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, right rear.
The right rear. I think the CV joint's going in the right rear. That's a CV joint. He did a great job not to crash that race car. I think the CV joint let go in the right rear suspension. Again, remember, these cars had trouble with the CV joints the last time, or was it Nashville, I believe? Yep. It's the wheel bearing, I'm sorry, not the CV joint, but the wheel bearing back there. But remember, they did the same thing at Nashville where it was so bumpy.
Well, he is out of the race.
I think, was there 2 or 3 Andretti green cars that had that problem at, I believe it was Nashville, when they had that problem, and because of the roughness of the racetrack.
Well, Kanaan dropped out of Richmond and finished 19th positions, or 19th place. That was her worst finish of the season. He's going to end up about 20th.
Well, Weldon, Kanaan both fell out at Nashville, and Herta. That's where Franchitti won, and the other 3, and if I'm not mistaken, all 3 of those guys had trouble with their wheel bearings there at Nashville. That's the reason they were in the pits cheering Franchitti on to victory.
Right now, Weldon now is out in front without his teammate to help him. Mira is second, Castronevich is third. Franchitti is now in 4th spot. Then Sharp, then Hornish. So Hornish has lost some ground. And look at Foyt.
Look at Foyt.
Foyt is up in 8th position.
And he's racing with Brian Herta. So a great run for that young man. And there's been a lot of people saying he's been looking around in NASCAR for a ride. A lot of people are saying, you know, it's not the kid, not that he can't drive a race car, it's just that the equipment is letting him down.
Well, you kind of feel bad for him, because if he does have the talent, he may be handcuffed somewhat. He feels a loyalty to his granddad, but that may not be the best place for him.
Well, granddad did him well here if he got that Chevrolet engine, and the kid, by far the best I've ever seen him run, by far.
Most competitive, back in 8th position, now only 2.8 seconds behind the leaders.
Did not finish like this, but I wonder, is the track conditions, the roughness, is that contributing to some of these failures?
I think so, for sure. I mean, we cannot we can't blame on the racetrack. Of course, it's bumpy for everybody, so not everybody's having the same problem. A shame for the 7-Eleven team. We're doing a great job, man. I was protecting Dan, he was protecting me. It was a fun day. I had a good start. I was laughing, but you know, short day for us.
Now, what do you do as a teammate? Do you go and make sure that all your teammates know what the failure was?
No, of course. I mean, for sure they all are here right now, and you know, hopefully it's not going to happen to them. We have a car in first place, a car in second place, and we're going to win this thing for sure.
Yeah, but he's not in first place anymore, fellas. Vitor Meira is on the run.
Vitor Meira now. Let me go back to the point I made earlier, Larry. They were going to keep that track as wide as they could to keep guys from going around. He just admitted that. He just plain admitted it, and without help, Meira goes on by.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Those two guys were using up the racetrack. They weren't blocking, but they were by the way they were racing each other, making it almost impossible. As soon as Kanaan is gone, Weldon gets past. So that's why it's important to have good teammates in this series.
Well, our third leader of the afternoon, Kanaan now out of this race. Meira is out in front.
He's got to be having fun.
He's got to be thinking, man, I can really do this.
Yeah. These guys, these two guys have pulled away. There's a yellow flag out there.
That's for debris over in turn 3, our third yellow of the afternoon.
Well, and you'll see everybody once again get to make their pit stops under yellow. They'll all head for the pits. So another break for these guys so they don't have to pit under the green.
Well, that leaves us with one pit stop to go then. All 3 pit stops have been made so far under yellow.
Yeah, you're right. If they'll just have one more pit stop after this one, and so this will be a fairly important pit stop. The last pit stop is by far the most important because track position after that last pit stop will have a huge effect on the outcome of this race.
Well, on this yellow, Meira, Weldon, Franchitti, the top 3 out of the race right now. Dixon, Carpenter, Schechter, Kanaan is out, so he will drop to 20th. Patrick then would be in 19th position. They changed the gears in the gearbox. The pits are now open, so everybody will pit under this yellow.
Yeah, Buddy Lazier and Thomas Indy and those other 2 Chevrolets are not having a good day. Buddy Lazier's won here twice, but he's not having a good day today for some reason.
He's mired back there in 18th position. Although he's turned some mighty fast laps out there in the past, but he's still back there 2 by 2 dicing for position down pit lane.
Meira let Weldon actually get around him as they were heading into the pits. He gassed it to get around him. I hope he wasn't speeding when he actually hit the line, because if he was, that could be a huge mistake for him, because it'll be a drive-through penalty.
Drive-through. Put him with the back of the pack. Quick stop for Meira. 7.9.
We'll see if Weldon obviously pitted. Oh, Weldon's going to beat him out.
No,
he didn't.
No, he didn't. Meira got him.
Meira had the run on him.
So Meira will maintain the lead. Well, we talked earlier about this was the guy we had picked to win a race this season. This could be his day.
Well, it could be. So far, things are looking pretty good. He and Dan Weldon, once Kanaan fell out, those 2 guys pulled out to about a half a straightaway lead, 3/4 straightaway lead over everybody else.
Vitor Meira is then, as you catch me checking out the stats down here on Vitor Meira, he's having a good drive, Paul Cherry.
Without question, and as the American commentators have said, we've tipped him to win a race at some point. He's been very, very racy for a lot of these events now.
Okay, before we speak to Scott Mantle, let's talk about that situation with Tony Kanaan, if I can. We can take another look at it now. Tony Kanaan, this is the second time this year that we're aware of that this problem has shown. Just watch for the puff of smoke. There it is from the rear axle on that car, and well, the big Gulp car. There was a big gulp for Vitor Meira as Tony Kanaan was coming down the bank in there for a moment as Meira gets underneath him. Very worrying that this is happening on a regular basis on a bumpy track.
Yes, there's probably a reason.
Do you want to tell us? Seeing that you did when we were off air.
There is a rumour that certain teams are using ceramic low resistance bearings in their axle packs, which can be worth anything up to allegedly 0.4 miles an hour at a track like that. So
until they stop, of course.
Until they stop. But when they go fairly spectacularly, as we saw there. You know, the greatest save of the day was definitely Tony Kanaan.
Presumably, though, Dan Weldon is running the same setup.
You'd have to reckon. As we saw, I think it was at Nashville, that there was a couple of Andretti Green cars were afflicted with problems, but there were two that finished perfectly fine, including Dario, who won the race. So depends which bump you hit, I suppose.
Indeed. Well, the man that's hitting the bumps right at the moment is Dario Franchitti. He was your tip for the front, as you know, he started from the back of the pack, but certainly Scott, he's flying at the moment, isn't he? I mean, he really is a man on a mission.
He is, you know, he's pulled it from the back of the pack, so he's shown he can overtake, and he's looking quick on the stats on the computer, so I think he's my tip for the day.
These pit stops, Paul, are a bit of a nightmare, aren't they? I mean, it's one of those situations where we thought Weldon may be able to get out in front of Mira, but even then he couldn't.
Yes, I think actually Mira might have been short-fueled because he was definitely 2 seconds less on his jacks to Dan Weldon, and that may pay off for Dan later on, because even if they have to come in on the next green, if they come in when they're on a green, then for sure Dan's only going to take on a small amount of fuel.
So, based on what we've seen so far, who's your money on?
I wouldn't be putting it on anybody at the moment. We've still a long way to go.
Okay, we've still a long way to go. Let's go back to the track and see how we're going. We are still live. We are still under our third caution of the day so far. And we're pretty sure to be going racing any moment. So let's go back to the track and our commentators live.
Only had 3 leaders, the fewest leaders we had back in 2001, 2003, and 2004. We had 5 leaders. We've only had 3 so far this afternoon. Kanaan, Weldon, and Mira.
See these guys already picking up the throttle. The cone is not there. Look at Mira. He's already on the hammer. He got a huge run on Weldon. The guy in front is at a huge disadvantage the way they do the restarts, because you don't have a choice of exactly where you can pick it up. You're supposed to wait to get that cone. All these guys pick it up a little bit before they get to the cone, but you can't pick it up a long way or they'll call for another restart.
It looks like Mira may have the advantage into turn 3. 14-degree banking here at Kentucky, still side by side. Who's going to lead this lap? Looks like it's going to be Weldon.
Yeah, Sam Hornish back there trying to push Mira past. Whoa, very close right there, trying to push Mira past so he can follow him, but so far hasn't been able to do it.
And here comes Franchitti to the inside of Hornish for 3rd position.
Yeah, he's going to get down on the inside and try to
look up and try to help his teammate.
Help his teammate. Exactly.
Mira has no help up there. Hornish could have Castro Nevitz. He's stuck in behind Sharp. Then Matsura.
You can see now then Mira's out there.
Look how wide Hornish goes.
Well, he's trying to get back on the outside of Franchitti. Boy, these guys really using the racetrack, trying to find a place, trying to find somewhere to go out there and run. There's Buddy Rice taking a look at the 15 car. He's back
Rice
in 11th.
Is back in 11th position.
Now then, here comes Franchitti to the inside.
Sharp also on the inside of Hornish.
Mira lost that spot. That's not going to be good to have those 2 teammates up front. That's going to make it very difficult for anybody else.
Right back to where we were before Kanaan fell out.
Exactly. Here comes Sharp on the inside. He's having a good run here all of a sudden.
Well, Sharp certainly has revitalized his career with this move to a new team this year. Same color scheme, same sponsorship, but well, he has been competitive.
Yeah, once he went with these guys, I mean, you know, this team is much, much stronger, seems to be, than any team he's been. Well, he was only with that one other team, but they weren't. They hadn't been very competitive the last 2 or 3 years. But right now, he's moved up there and he's running in 4th and actually gaining on Mira.
Well, he's racing with Fernandez, who won this race a year ago.
He and Matsura, right. Matsura finished 4th. Fernandez won the race, so this team is very good at this particular racetrack.
This was earlier when Franchitti lost his wheel after a pit stop, and Fortunately, there was no damage. Just on lap 31, there was no damage. He restarted the back of the pack. Didn't take him long to get to the front.
Now, doesn't seem like he's giving it any second thoughts. He's just out there standing on the gas, trying to go for the lead, but Weldon isn't having any of that, and Vito Mira isn't either, as he's trying to get back around it. There you can see Hornish running back there in 5th spot.
Sharp right now is in 4th. 5th is Hornish. Castronevic, his teammate, right behind him in 6th. There you see the lead pack.
There goes Scott Sharp in 3rd. He just went around Vito Mira. So Scott Sharp having a terrific run here today. He hung around back in about 8th spot, 9th spot for the first 100 laps of this race. Never really got up there and challenged. We talked about him being in the top 5 or 6, but he never got up and challenged the leaders until now.
Well, his best finish was 2nd at Texas back in June.
Well,
he was 4th at Nashville.
Oh boy, they're the teammates almost weren't on the same page. As Weldon went high, Franchitti tried to get under him.
Very sharp though.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Franchitti had to just lift ever so slightly. Once you lift on a racetrack like this, it costs you some straightaway speed. Sharp took advantage of it and went by.
Sharp was the co-champion of the first season. This is the car that Adrian won in last year that Scott Sharp is driving this afternoon.
Well, he certainly looks like he's on the move right now. He's on the hunt, as he has been running faster laps than Weldon has been running. And he's looked to the inside, he's looked to the outside, so we'll see now that he's caught Weldon if there's anything he can do with him.
Well, Scott has 8 career wins, but his last came back in 2003 at Motegi. Recall he was leading the point standings going into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway event, the 500, and the bottom just fell out the rest of that season and all last season.
Well, you could see from that graphic up there, it said exactly what we were telling you. He's run back in 7th, 8th spot almost this whole race, and not until the 100 lap mark did he start making his move. He moved into 4th, and now at the 130 lap mark, 132 now, he's in 2nd place and challenging for the lead.
Well, Scott Sharp has yet to lead a lap this season. Weldon coming in had led the most at 479 over 9 races. Sharp looking to lead for the first time this year.
Well, you can see those cars taking that beating. You can see them hitting those bumps down that little corner curve right there on the front straightaway.
And you see he was faster that last lap than was Weldon. He takes a look at the inside. He has the position on the racetrack and takes the lead.
Well, he got a good run off of the corner. Weldon just drifted high enough that he could sneak in under him, and he took advantage of it. So Scott Sharp
will lead lap 134.
By far the best we've seen him run, the most aggressive we've seen him too. And you know what's really nice about it is he didn't get in a hurry. He didn't show his hand. He didn't get up there in panic when he was running back.
Didn't overdrive the car early.
He ran back there in 8th place the whole first half of the race, probably knowing that he had a very good race car and could challenge. And right here, after they reached about the 120 lap mark, he took off, and he's really shown what he's got.
2-time Trans Am champion. He's a 2nd generation driver. Bob Sharp, a longtime competitor in SCCA competition. In fact, he, as we said earlier, Scott was the co-champion of the first season for the Indy Racing League. Shared that championship with Buzz Calkins back in 1996. But after winning 8 career races, has been on a dry spell since the spring of 2003.
You can see that the top 7 cars really all pretty close to each other, still in a lead pack more or less. And Weldon's trying to run to the outside. He's tried to get around. Herta's got a problem.
This is an unscheduled pit stop for Brian Herta.
I started to say a while ago I thought we'd see some more mechanical failures before this was over. This doesn't look like. This looks like he might have tire going down or a problem with the tire, because that's all they're doing.
Now keep in mind,
this might be a strategic move. He can probably make it the rest of the way. Uh-oh.
I don't think so.
No.
I think they came in and changed the tires, refueled, but we still have a problem we have to work on. So there's still one pit stop to go.
And you can see that Weldon still trying to figure out how to get back around Scott Sharp. Trying to run a little high, runs a little low, but just can't figure out any place that Scott Sharp is vulnerable at this point. Here comes Vito Mir to the outside of Franchitti.
Now here comes Buddy Lazier. Just waiting to see what line might be the fastest. Who's he going to go with? He's out split the difference.
That looked like he had to get out of the throttle. See that little wiggle when he got out of the throttle right there? It might cost him a spot, because he had a big run on those guys, and it does.
Yep, it did.
Once you get out of the throttle, you can see him wiggle. When you get out of the throttle, the car takes a little wiggle, and that's exactly what happened. As Mira looks like he's going to get that third position.
Well, gearbox problems for Herta. So we've had gearbox problems for Danica Patrick. We've had suspension problems or wheel bearing problems for some other drivers.
We've had a couple of gearboxes now, so lots of mechanical failures here with various parts on these race cars. And look at Scott Sharp now. He's pulled away. And look at Mira. He's got a big run on Dan Weldon this time.
Well, a racetrack up there, though.
Dan Weldon used a lot of it, but
it opens up the inside for Franchitti, but he can't take advantage of it, or can he?
Mira went way too wide that time. Weldon ran him up the racetrack. He tried to go higher, and well, he didn't lose the spot, though, as Franchitti tried to sneak in under him, but he just kept his foot on the floor, and even though he took a long way around on the outside, he still didn't lose that spot.
Lazier was under Hornish and wiggled and lost that position. Hurd is back on the racetrack. Hurd is back out in number 7. There he is. A gearbox cooling problem. So he now is 6 laps off the pace.
Well, any kind of a problem at this racetrack is not a good thing. It's going to put you out of contention to win. Meanwhile, Mira still on the hunt, trying to find a way to get around Dan Weldon. Can't make a mistake, though, because Franchitti's working on him.
Tom Anderson says there will be a very quick stop for Sharp. They'll have to change tires.
Well, they might not. They may
chance it.
The Firestones here have not been wearing all that badly, so they may chance it with old tires, because you can make about if it's under green, you probably won't, because you can make a quick pit stop like that. Here comes Weldon to the outside now. You can make a pit stop and put
5 seconds of fuel in, and
5 seconds of fuel, whatever it takes you to get to the end, and not change the tires.
Well, we'll see what happens if we don't have a yellow. That could change pit strategy for all these guys.
Oh, absolutely. It takes about 9 seconds, between 8 and 9 seconds, to change the tires. So if you need less fuel than that, you won't change the tires. Boy, look at these guys. They're all over that backstretch. Scott Sharp's trying to stay to the bottom coming off the corner so that Weldon can't get to the inside of it.
Well, Lazier has gotten back around Hornish. There is Lazier all over the rear. Here comes the 6 car of Hornish. This will be his final stop.
Well, yeah, he's making it early. Not sure what the strategy is here, because if there is a
yellow, he's in trouble.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But we've never really had a chance or would want to second guess the captain with his pit strategy. More times than not, he's right on what Roger calls.
Yeah. And they did not take a full fuel load. You can see as soon as the tires were on, they took off again. And you can see right now, Weldon to the outside as Scott Sharp protecting that inside, protecting that pole line. And as Buddy Lazier has dropped back just a little bit now, as he was up there battling with these top 4, now he's about 6 car lengths back.
Almost contact back there between Mira and Franchitti. Well, you got a whole lot of experience, a whole lot of savvy up there in front right now.
Well, you sure do. All these guys, proven veterans. Mira and Sharp probably hungrier than any of the rest of them. And we were talking about last week. Oh, look at this.
Tire.
That's the reason.
Left rear. That's why he came in.
And
That's
can
the right
feel
rear.
that.
That was the right rear.
And you can feel that. You can feel that it goes out of balance when it does that, and it starts shaking the car. Doesn't look very bad, but once that happens, it starts shaking the car. You know there's a problem. So he had to make a pit stop. If he didn't, he was in danger of blowing that thing out. So
this would be a huge win for Scott Sharp.
Or Vitor Mira, either one.
Vitor, certainly.
What I started to say was Dan Weldon. He was driving like a madman last week. I mean, you would have never thought he was trying to protect any kind of a points lead, as he drove the wheels off that thing last week trying to win that race.
This is Ray Hall's reaction to that blistered tire on Hornish.
Wow. Yeah.
That says the chassis might not be set up just right.
Yeah. Well, he's got a car up there in that top 4, so he's interested.
Well, Sharp leads Weldon, Mira, Franchitti at 157 and 200 laps.
Franchitti, Mira looked like he got a little loose, had to get out of the throttle, and Franchitti went on by him.
So now Sharp gets back around Weldon. Only 4 leaders today: Kanaan, Weldon, Mira, and now Sharp.
Look at Alex Barron. He's come up with that lead pack now, and he's challenging with those guys. He's the guy that's the last guy back there, but it's the first time we've seen him up there with the lead pack all day long.
Okay, they've gone 48 laps since their pit stop. How long will they nurse it?
Well, they can probably go to 52, 53.
Look how close they are right there.
They get pretty close.
A slight bump and they're together.
And that's the bad thing about this racetrack. It's very, very rough down there, and that might be one of the reasons they're getting so close, to hit those little bumps and lose the car around 6 inches or so. You got to leave yourself enough room in case something like that happens.
Well, if they go to 52, right now they're on lap 50 since their last fuel stop.
If they get 2.7 miles to the gallon, they can go 54 laps under green. Most of these guys have been claiming when they were doing it earlier in the week, when they were running their practice session, they were only getting about 2.5 or 2.6. So that would mean they could only run 50 or 52 laps. So we'll see. But I think 54 would be about the max. That where you'd have 2.7 miles per gallon.
Hornish made that stop early because of the blistered right rear tire. He is now 1 lap back in 16th position. Now, if all these guys stop under green, he'll get that lap back. If they stop under yellow, he's in trouble.
Right, but if he has that tire problem again, he's going to have to make another pit stop anyway, because he only won about 42 or 3 laps on that last set of tires.
Now you're right along with Danica. Now she is 16 laps off the pace. That lengthy pit stop to change what they call the stack, the gears inside the gearbox. And she is back on the racetrack and competing. And
looks like Franchitti might have a problem. He pulled to the top of the racetrack.
The last lap, Danica was the fastest out there.
Is that right? Franchitti has a problem. Moved to the top of the racetrack. And this is what everybody's glad to see. I don't think anybody wanted to make a pit stop under the green except Hornish.
Hornish.
He's in trouble.
Let's watch again, see what happens. Did he break something?
I think he had the right rear wheel bearing go bad. I think it's exactly the same thing. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't the same thing as Kanaan has. We'll see when he pits, because if they pull off the right rear and she's smoking, that'll tell us right away. But that's almost identical to the same thing that Kanaan did when he had that wheel bearing go away on him.
And you see there's no great urgency in the pit area. Now we're hearing a wheel nut came off. Well, then how's it keeping the wheel on?
Yeah, I don't think that's probably the case.
That wheel would have been gone had that wheel nut come off.
Exactly. I think the wheel bearing, my guess is the wheel bearing on the right rear. As you can see, he's looked like he's already taken his gloves off, so I don't think he's got much hope of getting going again. Maybe
All
not.
right,
Maybe
so we'll make our last stop of the day under yellow.
Yeah, he'd already
leave Hornish a lap off the pace.
Well, he will get that lap back, but he'll be clear at the back.
Back of the lead pack.
He'll get that. He'll get to go clear around.
There's Franchitti's new helicopter.
Jeez.
So he can leave early and fly back to Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, he can certainly be jealous of Danica Patrick getting a little more attention when he can fly out of here in his helicopter. But right rear wheel bearing. So once again, Andretti Green on rough racetracks having a problem with that wheel bearing. So I think
so now with the laps remaining, which will be 30, we could see something in the 26 car.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, they're not going to think that way, but he did have that problem at Nashville. Be interesting to see now, especially with the Castroneves problem, how many people change tires. I think they'll all change tires after being told about the problem with Castroneves. Before, they probably would have not. They might have just taken fuel. They'll probably just take enough fuel long enough to change tires. You won't see them wait that extra 2 or 3 seconds to get a full fuel load.
Okay, let's see what happens. Final pit stop of the afternoon. This is under the 4th yellow.
Okay, there they go. See, as soon as they dropped the car, as soon as the tires are on, he took off.
7.1, Vito out in the grass. And not a very good pit stop right there for Weldon.
Now, Weldon might have taken on a full load of fuel, but there's no reason to. As soon as the tires are changed, you can see that left rear guy on Sharp's car. As soon as he had that tire on, he tapped the leg of the fuel man, so he would know, and the fuel man could see all the rest of them. So as soon as the tires were on and they pulled their wrenches away, he let that car down. As soon as he let the car down, they pulled the fuel and took off.
Here's Weldon coming in. This is the Weldon stop.
He got in there too hot. He missed his guys. That's the reason they took longer. He got in there too hot. He went by them, only by about 2 or 3 feet. But you can see those guys are already on their knees, and they had to move down. And when they did that,
at least 2 guys went on by him.
Yeah, see, that only took him about a second and a half, but it cost him a couple of spots on the racetrack.
28 laps to go. We've had our final pit stop. It is going to be a shootout here in Kentucky. We're actually in Sparta, Kentucky, at the very, very northern, northeastern area of the state. A.J. Foyt now in 9th position, so the best ride so far of the year for young A.J.
Yeah, it certainly is. Alex Barron he got a good pit stop. He's up to 5th place now. So
on this restart, Larry, it'll be Sharp, Mira, Weldon, Castroneves, Barron, Buddy Lazier, Matsura, Carpentier, Foyt, and Yasukawa, the top 10 positions.
Well, if the way they've been running in the past is any indicator, the first 6 guys are the guys you want to look out for. And Lazier have all been running in that lead pack in that last time out. So we'll see if that continues. And if if Matsura made some adjustments, obviously his team has the right setup. He could be up there with those guys too.
There is your leader. Now remember, this is the same car that won here last year. Adrian Fernandez, the team owner, was driving this car last year. This is Scott Sharp. He maintains the lead through that last pit stop. Mira rides in 2nd on this restart. Then Weldon, Castroneves, Barron, and Buddy Lazier.
Well, we'll see. I mean, so far, once he got in the lead, he did a great job sticking it to the bottom of the racetrack. If you make those guys go around the outside, it's very difficult here.
So our 4th yellow of the afternoon, and Scott Sharp will have the point. Just 26 laps to go.
Yeah, and when they get the green flag, it'll be 25 to go next time by. See, pace car pulling off, pace truck pulling off, excuse me. So now Mira and Scott Sharp have Dan Weldon in a very unfamiliar position. No team green car in the top 2.
But Weldon is concerning himself with a championship.
Well, that's right. The other 3 team green cars have had mechanical problems here today. So at this point, I think he's probably going to be a lot more worried about seeing this thing get to the end than he is about winning this race. But there's nothing he can really do about it either. If that thing's going to fail, it doesn't matter whether he runs.
Oh, they're all jumping.
Oh, look at this.
Jumping on the throttle, jumping on the brakes, jumping on the throttle.
Wow, he didn't pick up the throttle as quick as everybody thought he would. Look at Buddy Lazier. He lost 1 or 2 spots back there as everybody just blew on by. That's Foyt on the outside. He's one of the guys that got the big run and went around guys. I think he's up to 6th place.
He is up to 6th place. A.J. Foyt, the 4th, up to 6th place, on his way perhaps to his best finish ever. A top 5 would just be phenomenal. They'd be happy with that Chevrolet power plant.
That was a great restart for him. You can see Barron, he moved up a spot. He's in 4th place now. And look at Mira, he immediately goes to the outside. Now, if those guys are real smart, they'll do to everybody else what they've gotten done to them for the last, you know, part of this season. They'll run just like that, keep Dan Weldon back there behind them. I don't think Mira's going to do that, though. If he can get the lead, he's going to go for it.
Yeah, but if you do that, at what point do you break stride and go for it?
Exactly. That's the problem. You know, when you're not teammates, you're not, you know, you've got to go for the win. Exactly. You're not communicating. You're not on the same wavelength. You've got to go for the win, and that's what both these guys would like to have their first win here at Kentucky Motor Speedway.
Well, first time that Scott Sharp has led this season, and he's led 38 laps so far. Vito Mira
and Weldon
has led a total of 43 laps before today's race.
Weldon's hanging right in there with him. Barron in that blue car back and forth. He's hanging with the leaders too. So
here's the setup. They're on lap 179. 21 laps to go as they complete this circuit. It's Sharp, Mira, Weldon, Barron, Matsuura. Good ride for Matsuura. So the teammates are running 1 and 5 right now. Castroneves is 6th, then Buddy Lazier is 7th, 8th is Foyt. So Foyt just dropped 2 positions to Castroneves and Buddy Lazier.
Yeah, the first 5 cars really have put a little distance between themselves and everybody else. So Buddy Lazier got a terrible restart. He got on the brakes, everybody else got on the throttle, and he lost about 4 spots back there, and he's struggling trying to get back through the pack up here with the leaders. And you can see Mira trying to go every which way to get around, but right now haven't been able to do it.
Well, Sharp continues to lead with 19 laps to go. Then Mira, Weldon, Barron. Barron with a great ride up to 4th position now. That's at Team Cheever, the Red Bull entry, up to 4th. Then Matsuura, Castroneves, Buddy Lazier, and A.J. Foyt. So Sharp continues to lead this thing. If Mira has something, it's about time to start pulling it out and seeing what he has.
Certainly
can't hold your aces now, can you?
Well, we'll see what happens.
So Sharp, who has not won since Motegi in 2003, driving for Kelly Racing back then, led for the first time this season here this afternoon. But Mira looking for his first ever win. Sharp has won 8 times so far in the IndyCar Series. Weldon looking for his 6th, or make that 5th win of the season. There's Matsuura, who is right now back in 5th spot.
Yeah,
well, this is going to be a trophy dash now, Larry.
Well, 15 laps to go, and Matsuura, you can see he's a little ways behind the rest of them. The first 4 guys have kind of pulled out there, but Foyt's right in the hunt. But those first 4 guys have a little bit of a lead over everybody else.
This is the most fun A.J. Foyt has had in probably 3 years.
His grandfather is very happy right now, believe me, as this young man, Indy, right behind him. And Indy,
this is the best bee sting medicine Grandpa could have.
Exactly. And look at it. He's running right there with some of the guys that have really been great. Now then they're getting into some lap traffic. Mira is going to try to take advantage of it.
Jacques Lazier.
Mira was hoping that Jacques would stay down there and kind of cause a little problem. Jacques said, I'm not getting in this mess. I'm going to get up here way high. You guys go wherever you want. Mira seems to be the only one on the racetrack right now that's got anything for Scott Sharp. Weldon, I think he says third's good enough for me. I don't want to get up there and crash. I got a points lead to protect. It doesn't appear that he's going to get up there and fight with these guys.
And nobody in contention with him is even up there as far as the points battle, so he's going to...
And Barron, I think he's pedaling that thing as fast as it'll go, and he's doing a great job pedaling that Toyota into 4th place, quite honestly.
Hornish, who's second in the points, is back there in 11th position, so even with his 3rd place finish, Weldon will pick up some ground in the points chase.
Yeah, that blister tire really hurt Hornish. He had, you know, put him just behind the 8 ball, and there's nothing he could do. Mira still trying everything he can. Tries to get that draft down the straightaway, gets in behind him, tries to get that little bit of a draft to help suck him around in the corners, but it's just not been enough so far.
You got Honda powered in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Toyota with Barron is 4th. The best Chevy, you got 3 Chevys in a row in Lazier, Foyt, and Indy. We've not talked much about Tomas Indy. He's up in 9th position after starting at the back of the pack.
Yeah, and I think he's, you know, he might have been a little rusty after that, getting hurt, coming back, and hadn't been up in the, well, Buddy Lazier did pretty much the same thing. He ran back in 10th, 11th, 12th most of the race, and only in the last 25 or 30 laps has he been a factor up there towards front. He's moved back up to 5th.
We haven't talked about Briscoe either today, and Briscoe is now in 8th position. Just moved around Hornish for 8th.
So he's having a good run. Look at Mira. Mira wants to get to the inside. He wants Scott Sharp to move up just a little bit, give him a car length on the bottom, and Scott Sharp is just not going to do that.
9 laps to go as they cross the line. The veteran, former IRL champion, up in front. Vito Mira looking for his first win. He's finished second a couple of times, but looking for that first trip to victory lane.
Well, he's doing everything he can do. He's running high. He's running down below him to get a little draft. He's tried just about everything. He even tried to go under him down the back straightaway, but there wasn't enough room between him and the white line. And if you go below the white line, they're going to disqualify you. They've already told him that. So no matter what, going down that back straightaway, you can't pull him under somebody by going by him on below
With
that
his
white
car
line.
owner, Adrian Fernandez, not driving. Scott Sharp is the senior member of this entourage here this afternoon. Brian Herta, one of the senior members, of course, victorious 2 weeks ago at Michigan. And it looks very much like Scott, the veteran driver, could hang on in 8 laps, make that 7 laps, and take this victory.
Yeah, Mira's giving it a valiant effort. He's pulling out all the tricks, and I'm sure they're trying to help him all they can, but there just isn't anything he can do. There's no place, unless Scott Sharp makes a mistake.
Or hits one of those bumps and bobbles a bit.
It wouldn't take much. I mean,
well, you see how rough it is right there through that corner.
Oh, yeah. It's rough all the way through the corners. Even that little kink in the front straightaway, it's rough there too.
Well, you're running flat out and protecting that low line, it's tough to get around you.
Well, and especially when it's this rough, and it's rougher down there on the bottom part of the track, but that's where you got to go if you want to keep somebody from passing you.
He has to protect that low groove.
Right. The first 4 guys have just kind of walked away from everybody else, and right now we'll see if
5 laps to go.
Weldon wants to get up there, but I don't think he does. I think he's very content with 3rd spot to build on that points lead right now.
Well, there's Kim.
Yes.
She's not been in this position for a couple of years.
No, it's been a while since he's seen the checkered flag in P1. So, and of course, Vito Mira has never seen the checkered flag from P1. So, both these guys pretty hungry race car drivers. But I think Mira he's got to wait for a mistake, and Scott Sharp's not the kind of guy that makes very many mistakes.
Well, they're too evenly matched right now.
Yeah, they're just so evenly matched. Mira, see, he gains a little bit on him going down the straightaway when he gets that draft, but he just doesn't get enough of a run to make any kind of a move through the corner.
Less than 3 laps to go. Sharp, Mira, and Weldon, all 3 right there in your picture. Then Alex Barron is 4th. Castro Neves now is 5th. Buddy Lazier is 6th. Then Matsura, Ingy, Hornish, and Foyt now has dropped to 10th position.
Well, Matt, I mean, Mira certainly using the whole racetrack. He's trying to go on the high side, but
it's going to take a bobble on the part of Scott Sharp for Mira to have a shot at this thing, and that veteran's not likely to make a bobble.
Weldon now moved to the outside of the racetrack. Looked like he might be hunting around a little bit up there to see if he could do something. But
white flag out, final lap. Here comes Mira.
Well, if he's got
tried high, tried low.
Well, maybe he was
No, he's not in a position now. Scott will hang on and win this thing.
Not enough room. He's going to. Now he tried to do that under the white line thing like he did in Texas, but there's not enough room here.
And Kim and the crew very happy as well. Fernandez Racing wins again here in Kentucky.
Wow, they've really got this place figured out. Mira has to be very disappointed, but you got to feel good for a guy like Scott Sharp. He's certainly endured a lot over the last couple of years.
He thought his racing career was about over.
Well, and so did everybody else. They wrote him off pretty much. And too bad. Here's his wife.
Hi, Jackson. Hi, Brianna. Mommy loves you. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I can't believe it. I mean, we've worked so hard for this. We've been down in the trenches, and the sport can be so brutal to you. And I can't believe it. No one deserves this more than Scott and Delphi and everybody that stuck with him and believed in him. And this is for so many people. I can't say enough. I'm speechless. I'm so proud of him.
Go give him a big hug.
Oh, don't you worry.
Kim.
Well, apparently he's not forgotten how to do donuts.
No. Well, he's got to be a happy guy. His wife certainly was, no question about that.
So Scott Sharp brings it home to victory lane here in Kentucky this afternoon.
Much better than drivers in years past, I think. You know, let's say 15, 20 years past, not in the recent past. But
you're saying he's in better shape than you were?
He's in better shape than I am, there's no question.
Not now as you were.
He's in better shape than I was. There's no question about it. I never ran 15 miles in my life altogether.
Tell you what, he's taking his time getting out of the race car.
Yeah, he's
Jack
tired.
Arute is down there in victory lane.
He's a very tired guy. Again, so hot, so humid, it's very draining. Let's go down to the pits.
Is back in victory lane, where he belongs. Yeah, it's all over me. Thanks. Scott, we talked to Kim right after the victory, and she talked about how cruel this sport can be. The dark side of it when people whispered about the fact that despite maybe a lacking package, that you didn't have it anymore. What about it now that you've proven to people just how important it is?
This can be a little long, Jack. First of all, Brianna and Jack, I'm coming home with a trophy, baby. Miss you, kids. I got to thank all the people who's prayed for me, you know, and there's a couple guys I know that went on a mission trip in Indonesia, and I said I would give a percentage of my winnings regardless of where I finished today. So it's going to be a little more than it could have been with the win. But where do I begin? I mean, so you're right, Jack. So many people said, all the problems the last few years, you know, when the car wouldn't go fast. Yeah, baby, you are the best engineer. I mean, Delphi, man, they were just incredible. We're in 8 seasons, I think, almost 100 races together. So just they've been tremendous. The opportunity to go here, I want to thank Adrian and Tom. Honda is the best motor company I've ever been with. This motor called the mail. Robert, thank you.
You can pretty much understand how you feel, but take me back to when you were in the dark side, when people were wondering if you still had it. Did you ever doubt it?
You know, I had so many people that helped me spiritually. You know, I'm just a real spiritual person. They helped me get through that. And sure, there's dark times. Sure, you doubt yourself. Sure, you have people, you know, when you telling you can't drive anymore, all that kind of stuff. But I just knew every time I get in the car, I try to go 100%. And I just can't thank everybody out there so much. All of our sponsors have been just tremendous. You know, Delphi, Futaba, Bill LaFontaine, everybody out there has just been tremendous.
Scott, congratulations and welcome home.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a long time.
So it is 110th start. He started more of these races than anybody else in the Indy Racing League, and Scott Sharp takes the victory over Vito Mira, and Dan Weldon increases his points lead over Hornish, because Hornish did not finish, well, he finished in 7th position here this afternoon.
Scott Sharp, what a superb win again, and hanging on there, Scott Mansell and Paul Cherry right to the very end. He was under a lot of pressure from Vito Mira, and as a driver that must be quite disconcerting to see somebody in your mirrors through all the last few laps. You just don't know whether they've quite got something.
Yeah, keeping your focus and your concentration, especially on an oval like this, I would imagine is very difficult, especially when you've got someone harassing you in the mirrors.
With the benefit of hindsight, we did say at the top of the show that Dan Weldon would probably go for a win given the opportunity, but in those circumstances with two guns trying to pick off the win, which was more important to them, it didn't have any bearing on his championship at all, apart from the fact he was extending his lead even in third place, Paul.
No, I mean, he used his head, which is exactly what Tony did last year for the championship. Vita and Scott, they were nuking it out. One of them was going to finish, maybe not the other one. I was pretty impressed that they both snuck it over the line, but that was definitely a duel right down to it. But Dan's smart. He could see that Alex Barron had nothing to offer him, so he just sat there and took the money. He obviously was being told on the radio that Sam was a long way back.
We saw how happy Scott Sharp was there. I mean, it was Motegi, I think, in 2003, his last win in an IndyCar. So perhaps some justification for the over-the-top celebrations. I'm sure it's going to go long into the night. I mean, why has it taken so long? That is a long time to be in the wilderness. And in fact, some drivers never ever recover from that amount of time in the wilderness.
Well, something we were discussing earlier is you have to have all the right package. You can have a good engine, good car, good engineer, good team, everything, but it's got to gel together. And I think the problem for Scott at the last couple of years at Kelly Racing, the focus wasn't really there. They didn't have it all together. Scott didn't have it all his own way, and he was getting a little bit depressed and distressed about it all. Straight out of the team, into another team, proven front runners. They've gone right behind him, and he's been racy all season.
Adrian Fernandez has got this track sorted out though, hasn't he?
Quite clearly. I mean, you know, they obviously arrived, pulled it out, put last year's setup on it, and Scott's been quick all weekend. Be interesting to see if in 2 races time whether he can duplicate that on the road course, of course.
Well, let's take a look now at the championship points at this point. Of course, Dan Weldon extends his lead. It's up to 90 now over Sam Hornish Jr. Tony Kanaan in third place. He slips down there. He's 105 adrift of his teammate Weldon at the top of the tree. Dario Franchitti, who looked like a real racer again today, coming right the way through after that wheel fell off. We don't know whether the bumps of Kentucky damaged his rear suspension or whether a whole lap with only 3 wheels on it did it, but I'm sure we'll hear that in the inquest later. Scott Sharp then in 5th place overall, Castro Neves in 6th. That's how it looks in 2005. Still quite a lot of racing to go, but you've got to say that as a racing driver, sitting there with that massive cushion of 90 points, that's almost 2 race wins, 50 points for a race win, of course. He's still not going to relax though, is he?
No, but he's looking good. He's just got to, I think, use his head for the rest of the season. Maybe do exactly what he's done today. Use his head and maybe not go for all the wins. Just if he's ahead of his nearest competitors in the championship, just use his head and go for the points.
Indeed, and it's been a good day for Dan Weldon using his head. We're going to take a very short break. We've got lots more analysis to come, so don't go away. Scott Sharp was, of course, the winner of the Kentucky Indy 300, denying Vitor Meira his first ever win in the IndyCar Championship. We're going to be hearing from Vitor Meira, and we can hear from him now, actually, in Victory Lane.
Well, Todd, the one man that kept Scott Sharp honest until the end, Vitor Meira, you were all over him after 40 starts. I thought this could be it. Where did he have the edge over you today?
Well, I think they were, again, just at the right place at the right time. He had a little better last pit stop than us, and we had a really good one. But again, I mean, it was just the last lap deal I tried. Inside, he was already there, and there was nowhere else to go.
This man has been involved in, gosh, 2 of the top 7 closest finish. What is it about that last 2 laps? What do you do?
Well, I mean, you just hang there. I mean, you hang there, you study the guy. But I think the thing that matters is position yourself to win. And the Jones Manville Menard's car, we are doing that all the time. And I mean, a good thing is Honda 1-2 again. It's if nothing is a team win. So it's 1-2 for Honda and for us too.
Vitor Meira could run high, he could run low, and today he finished 2nd. Todd?
Finished 2nd for the 2nd time this year. Paul Cherry, he is a bit of a star, Vitor Meira, though, isn't he? And he's one for the future to keep an eye on.
Yes, he's right up the sharp end all the time, and I think today he showed great class because he was battling that for the last 15 laps.
Must be very frustrating when you're actually sat right in the slipstream of somebody. You know you might have just that little bit of an edge, but you can't use it anywhere on an oval.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't got much experience on the oval, but it looked like it wasn't quite enough for him to get past on the last few laps.
Your experience on the oval is coming very soon, in fact. Are you looking forward to it, having sat here with us watching this?
Yes, I mean, I went to my first oval race a couple of weeks ago in Michigan, and it was just unbelievable. The spectacle of the oval was just amazing.
So when do you go out?
I go out next week, and then I'm racing in 2 weeks' time.
And what's the programme leading up to that?
I'm going to the school at the circuit because I've never been to Sears Point before. And then the week after that I'm racing. We've got testing on the Friday, qualifying on the Saturday. And
how did you put it all together?
We've done a deal with my sponsors, Zigzag UK, and we've had some good contacts with America. So I'm going to be Marco Andretti's teammate over there with the Dave McMillan racing team.
And is this something that you've got a plan with your management into where you're heading? Is it feeding you into IndyCar proper?
Well, hopefully, yeah. That's my long-term ambition. We're going to hopefully do next year in the Infinity Pro Series, doing all the rounds, all the ovals and the road courses, and then we'll see where we go from there, but hopefully IndyCar.
Well, the man that you would no doubt like to emulate at the moment, he's only 27 years old. He is of Buckinghamshire in Great Britain. He finished third today, but extended his lead.
Who gets his 9th top 5 of the year, Dan. Nice run today, finishing third. But I got to ask you, that last pit stop, what happened on pit road?
I overshot my marks, completely my mistake. I think I got a little bit excited, but certainly it was a good team effort today by everybody at Andretti Green Racing. It's disappointing for my teammates. Felt kind of lonely out there without them. It's different when you don't have those guys pushing you, but you know, all in all, I think a good day from a points standpoint. But you know, we wanted to win, but nonetheless, I think Scott Sharp did well and was very quick, and so was Vitor. So I don't think we quite had the car to beat them.
How does the points battle now affect what you do these final 5 races? 90 points, fairly comfortable. I know you like to be aggressive. Do you start thinking more and more about the big picture in the championship?
No, not really. We just got to carry on doing what we're doing. If you do that, you know, the way the point system works, they can catch you real quick. So we'll just continue to do what we do, and you know, it'd be much nicer to see one of my teammates in second, and hopefully second, third, and fourth. That would be good.
You are very loud, Andy. You join us back here in the studio, and Dan Weldon, who just finished third in the Amber Alert Portal Kentucky Indy 300. And the only reason I repeat the title sponsor's name in this particular, because it is it's a public service over in America. They find missing children, and it's a wonderful cause, obviously, out there in America. You're aware of it as well, Paul?
Yes, it's quite a clever system. It's designed when children go missing to basically bring it to the public's attention very, very quickly. They put notices up on the motorway, flashing signs, straight away on the radio, the idea being that they find them very quickly.
Well, we've got a great deal to look forward to here in Great Britain. Live, of course, on Sky Sports. We've got an exclusively live A1 GP series coming up. It's the new series of motorsports, the World Cup of Motorsports, that's coming later in the year. Starts at Brands Hatch on the 25th of September. We will be live with that, of course. They tested the cars pretty much for the first time at Silverstone. This was a mass test, 15 cars out on a track. That's Jos Verstappen that you can see there in the orange A1 GP car with Lola chassis, Zytec motors, and I have to say they look pretty meaningful and they sound pretty meaningful as well. 550 horsepower when they've got the old boost on full power. Got an extra 30 horsepower when they use the boost controls. Robbie Kerr, one of the drivers that will be driving for John Surtees' seat-holding franchise. It's a very, very important new series put together by Sheikh Maktoum of Dubai. A lot of people criticised and dissed this particular series, saying it wouldn't happen, but here is the living proof of it at Silverstone just a week ago. There's Thomas Scheckter, by the way, having a test in the A1 GP car. That is the South African entry. It is a World Cup, which means the drivers don't score the points, the teams score the points. So we might see young Scott Mansell here at some stage in the future, running in the British team car. I mean, you must have been looking at this series from afar as well. I think every racing driver will be keen to see how it progresses. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting series. I don't entirely know how it works with the pick of the drivers, but it's going to be interesting to follow, and they've got some big name drivers in there.
quite a lot of well, I won't say criticism, but a lot of scepticism is the word I'm looking for earlier on in the year regarding this. The Sheikhs obviously put up some big money. There's quite a lot of big businessmen that are involved in it as well, South African miners and I don't know what else regarding various businesses. But proof of the pudding, as they say, is when the cars were on the track, and there was 15 of them, complete with Zytec motors, all looking good. They've got a test in Paul Ricard coming up later this month. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen big, Paul, by the look of it.
Yes, I'm afraid in motor racing that we all suffer from we fail to look outside the box, shall we say, and all credit to Sheikh Maktoum and his company. They've looked at it and they've said, where are we missing something? And in the winter there's nothing. We all have to retreat and become football fans or something worse. And now there is a proper series that will be on the TV, indeed on Sky. And yes, it's going to be very interesting with a Nations Cup because drivers don't score any points. So if your driver's no good, you can immediately get rid of him and put a good one in. So I'd really like to get involved.
Yeah, your popularity stakes just went up on our football channel here at Sky Sports. But I think some motorsports people at home might be in agreement. But the big situation as far as you are concerned, you've just signed a deal as well, I believe, with Paynos.
Yes, we have done basically a business merger with the Elan Motorsports Group in Braselton in America, who we have Chris Tate on from time to time. And the idea is that we form rather a larger company and Force 10 look after the business of looking for motor racing opportunities in Europe and Asia, while Elan themselves concentrate on America. So yes, I'm very excited by it.
So what does it mean in very short, quick speak?
It means that we will have access to a huge company, which will mean that our costs for various projects we're involved in will come down because the quantities of scale will be great.
Very quickly, Scott, and without you falling asleep, politics in sport is one of those situations very difficult for a youngster to keep a handle on. But nowadays, racing drivers really do have to see the greater picture, don't they, regarding where they're going, in particular if you're going to move your career forward into the international arena.
Yeah, the politics in motorsport is quite huge, and you have to be a fully rounded driver to get to the top level. You know, you have to sort out all the sections of what you need to be, press, finance, everything, and be a good driver as well.
Well, here we are with a Briton at the top of the IndyCar series at the moment. Gentlemen, is he going to win this series now? Are you confident, Paul Cherry, being a bit of a cynic? Is it going to happen for him now?
Well, even as he said so himself, the way the points are, you know, he could still lose it. But the situation is also the way the points are, he can very easily win it. He's just got to keep a level head. And as we said, he doesn't want to be 10th, but maybe there'll be occasions where 10th is the number of points he needs.
Well, today, of course, it's Scott Sharp who takes his first win in seemingly years, denying Vita Mira his first win in the IndyCar Series. Yet again, the IndyCar Series has provided us with some superb racing. The action continues next weekend at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Colorado. Dario Franchitti won there last year and will be looking for a repeat performance if he can. We'll be there, and you can see the race, the Honda Indy 225, live here on Sky Sports Extra. That's next Sunday, August the 21st at 8:30 p.m. But that's it from the team here at Sky. My thanks to Paul Cherry and, of course, to Scott Mansell for his first visit to Sky Sports. Best of luck in Sears Point, Scott. We'll leave you now with some of the highlights from the Amber Alert Portal Indy 300. Goodbye.